Once you get your award. In second place this morning with a 913, Addison Johnson. And leading for the U15 girls this morning with a 980, Leah Basevic. Very nice bowling this morning, ladies. Moving on to our U18 girls division this morning with a score of 10-13, Gianna Brandolino. In second place with a score of 10-44, Vicky Andrews. And your leader for this morning's long pattern for the U18 girls was a very nice 11-14, Abigail Starkey. Nice bowling this morning, ladies. Moving on to our U15 boys division this morning, finishing in third place with a score of 10-04, Eason Taylor. In second place for the U15 boys this morning with a 10-07, Tatum Lee. In first place this morning for the U15 boys with a score of 10-24, Aiden Odin. Nice bowling this morning, gentlemen. For our U18 boys this morning, we had a tie for third place with a score of 10-09, Jace Pint and Griffin Jordan. Finishing in second place this morning with a score of 11-17, Anthony Swanson. Sorry, I absolutely did not mean to discount both Jace and Griff. It's 11-09. I'm not used to shooting scores that big. That's not my fault. Finishing in first place this morning on the long with a very impressive 11-61, Landon Jordan. Very nice bowling this morning, gentlemen. Congratulations to everyone this morning. Just a reminder, we will get started at 8 o'clock here at Cadillac in the morning. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock tomorrow. We'll start announcements. Practice will be at 8:15. We will also be around selling raffle tickets again. If you'd like to go purchase tickets, they are down behind lanes 31 and 32. Otherwise, we will come through the center again this afternoon. Those tickets will be drawn after qualifying tomorrow. So we will draw tickets after qualifying tomorrow before the finals. 4 gifts we have down there. We've got an SBI ball of choice. We've got an H5G customizable jersey, a rolling cooler, it's the Carhartt duffel bag. Just a reminder, we do have our outing at Kingpin tonight. That's over at Maple Lanes. That's from 6 to 9. They will have a limited food and beverage menu for us for tonight. Volleyball outside, duck pin inside, all the football games. I mean, it was a good time last year. We had a line of response over there, so that was good. If you're choosing not to go to the Kingpin, don't forget about the OP on Ridgeway Avenue. Andy Delo, the GM over there, he was actually in the booth with a meal this morning. He donated both to the prize fund and also cut us a deal on pizzas and the coupons that were in your bag. So don't forget to show some love to our sponsors. One last reminder about the paddock. We have the paddock down in the arcade. That's the second door on the left. That will be locked this evening, so if you choose to leave your equipment here, you're more than welcome to. We will have lane assignments posted during the block today for tomorrow's round. Again, you don't have to check in any place. You can go straight to the starting pair when you get here in the morning. We're going on the short pattern this afternoon. The short pattern, the skip is the same. We're going to skip 2, moving to the right. Give us just a couple of minutes and we will get practice ready to go. I would like to start a little early. Can everybody get to their starting pairs and make sure we're not missing anybody? I don't want to short anybody's time, but if everybody's here, we can start a few minutes early. Do any parents have anybody missing?
I'm right here.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and start a little early. We'll finish it out for practice.
Okay, I'll keep them together then. All right.
Wife's gonna make sure you get these. Those are her candied pecans.
Thank you very much.
She said he loves them. I was like, okay, I'll make sure she says.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Just a reminder, make sure the score sheets are filled out, make sure T-shirt, if you don't like the score filled, make sure the score's written down. Make sure you still keep these with you as the game over on the back counter. Go ahead and touch start play on your monitors. Good luck and good score.
What? Go tell them?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Cadillac XBC here in Waterloo, Iowa. Emil Williams Jr. here with you as we begin qualifying on the short pattern. 5 games on short. We had the long pattern this morning if you're joining us for the first time. It's a good spare pickup at the bottom right of your screen there from Davin Smith. Short pattern again on the lanes. This morning we had the 50-foot long pattern. 50 feet this morning. This afternoon, 35 feet in length. 35 feet in length. Appreciate Andy Belo for joining me this morning. Proud owner of the other place just down the street on Ridgeway. Excuse me, and also a proud sponsor of this tournament. Saw Micah Jensen earlier, actually on 19 and 20. There he is at the bottom of your screen again. There's Anthony Swanson, who won the previous two iterations of the first two in U15 boys, and now he is in the U18 boys division. So moving up. Savannah Portillo also on the pair. We talked about Ashlyn Tevis, again, the talented lefty. There's Tyler Paulus. The short, the ratio is by number. There's 1.96 to 1. So a little bit tougher. I think it's going to be a little bit flatter. And already there looks to be, and again, this is interesting to say, but there looks to be less friction. Right, but it really is about where the friction is, where you're encountering the friction. There's some balls going down the lane where I'm looking and kind of expecting equipment to hook, and it's not quite getting up the hill. On cue, there's Tevis. The jersey change for the afternoon block. I like that thinking. Griffin Jordan, also in this group, who Griffin tied for second this morning on the long pattern with Jace Pine, who had himself a great day. Let me remind you, if you're looking for a couple of players in particular, and maybe they don't come across our cameras, or at some point they will hit the featured pairs, of course. The best way to follow throughout the day is through Lane Talk. Let me drop that link for you right now. Absolutely, Robert, you read my mind. There is their live scoring link. I'm also going to drop the results tab as well from Bowl Metrics. Again, get you the full-on opportunity to filter and go through the varying rounds, of course, or blocks per division, so you can check out at one point, obviously, their total and, of course, what they bolt individually per block. The results tab is now pinned. And with that said, we welcome into the booth. We are awaiting his sponsorship deal from Nissan. Not quite Lincoln, but it's still solid. The one and only Matthew McConaughey here at Bullstream TV. Man, how you doing?
Thanks for having me, sir. Appreciate you. Appreciate you coming over from Chicago to spend the weekend with us, too.
It's always it's a pleasure to be asked, certainly, and watching this event continue to grow has been great. Andy and I were talking about it, and even just from day one, I should say tournament one, 2 years ago, just the field growth talent-wise just continues to get better each and every year.
I think that's a testament to the amount of kids that have just got, like, the more opportunity they have to compete. And, I mean, their skills are just so much sharper at a younger age. But Brandon worked really hard to make sure we had a quality field year one. And with his connections to a lot of the top tier players that are here, the Starkeys, the Jordans, the Brandolinos, Zach Andreessen, Brooks Salzman in year one, really working those connections that he had to really generate the buzz that we needed year one. And then honestly pay it off with putting on a good event. We had it split between the two houses in year one. We decided that we could have a few more entries if we just limited it to Cadillac, since Maple has less beds. But yeah, like I say, it's putting on a good event, and those top tier kids continue to come. We felt we needed to get a little more aggressive with the prize fund this year, so we did that. We're up. We're going to give away a little over almost $14,500 this weekend is the prize fund. So and you start putting checks out like that, and the cream of the crop wants to come and compete.
You got that right. I want to compete for that kind of money, that opportunity.
I don't want to. I couldn't keep up with any of these kids.
Well, that too is certainly in the cards as well. Speaking of, we were talking about Griffin. Landon Jordan led the long pattern U18 boys this morning. Let's run through that real quick. The bowl metrics, starting with let's see, we've got U15 boys up on the screen. Aiden Odin plus 24 in U15 boys. Again, that was this morning on the long pattern. Tatum Lee was second at plus 7. Easton Taylor was third at plus 4. U15 girls was Leah Basevic. Nice run there at minus 20, followed by Addison Johnson and Bella Hagan. In U18 boys, I mentioned Landon plus 161. Anthony Swanson, who won the first 2 iterations of this tournament in the U15 boys division, second on the long pattern at plus 117, and a tie for third, not second, excuse me, tie for third between Griffin Jordan and Jace Pint. And finally at plus 109, U18 girls, Abby Starkey plus 114. Nikki Andrews was second at plus 44, and Gianna Brandolino third at plus 13. Some good bowling. There were some scores to be had out there this morning, and we looked ahead to this short pattern. Andy and I did, and anticipated the scoring pace would dip a little bit. Ratio 1.96 to 1. Spare shooting is always a premium, but your execution really has to be good on short. You can see balls take off on you, et cetera, and so forth. And already seeing a little bit of that, but seeing a few strings out there as well.
Yeah, this sender in general is the gutter gets a little tough sometimes, just because it is pretty tough pair to pair sometimes when you're that far right. But I shouldn't say right, that far to the edges.
There's Caden again. So that young Caden, he was on 21 and 22 earlier. He like tripped a 4, or no, he got a late slow break on a 4 in the messenger, and then he rattled off 6 in a row. The crowd was going crazy for him. It was great.
It's like I say, I mean, there's such a diverse community that's here. I mean, you've got kids that, we've got a few local kids that this is like their first big time premier event, all the way up to, you know, I mean, Landon is a 2-time junior gold champion. Gianna's a junior gold champion. She just won 60K on TV, you know, a week ago up in Portland. I mean, so the field is very diverse, but at the same time, I think the thing that's really cool with our event is, like, it doesn't matter what your level is. Like, nobody's going to give you any grief for whatever level that is, and that's the cool thing, that, you know, we try to be kind of all-encompassing and really be welcoming to whatever your level is. And if you're just getting started, it's a great place to start. I mean, for a $250 entry fee, you got an attention star, which is one of the hottest balls in the world right now. So I mean, you basically got it for rack price, and you get 15 games of free practice, or you get a chance at $1,500. So
Not a bad deal.
no, and none of that happens with our sponsors either. I mean, we've got ADS Recycling on board for the second year this year. They really stepped up their sponsorship this year. They were excited with what we produced last year, being a first-year sponsor last year, and really wanted to get more involved in more youth activities here locally. They've been here in the Waterloo Cedar Falls area for almost 13 years. They employ a little over 100 people. But they really wanted to be good community partners, and they viewed our tournament and our series as an opportunity to do that. So we're really appreciative of them. Having Roto Grip and High Five on board for the third year in a row. They've really been Leanne and the team over at SPI were great with us trying to just get something started. And then Cassie and the team over at High Five have been nothing but tremendous folks to work with. I mean, they have absolutely been invested in. They're not just invested in this event. We run a monthly series as well that they're both those groups are invested in, and that's a huge deal for us. Like I say it all the time in our announcements, you can't run events like this without A, good sponsors, and B, good participants, and it really takes both to make it happen. The Greater Cedar Valley here locally has helped us out with some prize fund as well. That's awesome for them. The local Visitor and Tourism Bureau, Experience Waterloo, they've been instrumental in making sure that, you know, we showed them the amount of bodies that we bring to the Cedar Valley in a given weekend, and they've been really generous with their funding for us as well. And then having you here, I mean, I know you're not a sponsor per se, but just being able to put that professional's face on our event, and you know, the voice of the PWBA and USBC's Bowl TV just brings so much credibility so quickly. You know, you're not going to put your voice on a subpar event. And so that's a testament to us.
Well, I don't know.
No, come on now. I watch a lot of your stuff. Don't dig yourself there. But seriously, we appreciate that. And like I say, it makes us feel like it's a higher level event, and that's our goal, is to put on a professional style event, quality event to all these kids from around the Midwest.
Yeah, you got some other locals too, sponsor-wise. We're talking about Andy and the OP, the other place, and Hampton Inn, and what Ben has done there.
Yep.
Appreciate him.
Yep, Hampton Inn, Holiday Inn Express. Days Inn is a new one for us this year. That's through our Hawkeye Community Colleges here locally. Roger Taylor Jr. is the coach over there. He got us hooked up with Days Inn. So just another option for families to have a place to stay this weekend. And yeah, Andy's been nothing but tremendous. I haven't actually talked to you off air all that much today. Did you get your Oktoberfest pizza last night? So the OP has this pizza with sauerkraut and bratwurst and stuff on it. It's not my thing, but there's like a follow. It's almost like a cult following for that thing when it comes out. Yeah.
That's what I like to call it.
Yeah. But no, Andy's been awesome. He helped us out not only with coupons for all the competitors, but he also helped us out with prize fund as well. So, you know, like I say, we can't run these things without good sponsors, and it doesn't work otherwise. So appreciate all their help.
We've got a front six alert from a last name that you may be familiar with, Steen. Rush Steen with the front six out the gates here on the short pattern. That's down on 13 and 14. We'll keep you updated on his progress. Jace Pine had the front 7. No, he may have had the front 6 earlier too, or the front, one or the other. And we went over there too early, so I'm going to wait. Waiting for Rush. That'll give us an opportunity to watch Ashlyn Tevis here. Wow. The college visits, as we talked about earlier, for a lot of these players, but including Ashlyn Tevis, starting to kind of pile up. Big decisions coming up. Actually, you know a little bit about that.
I do, and actually I talked to Ashlyn and her folks a little bit last night after during practice, and I mean, for as talented as she is, she's going to get all the opportunities she wants, and she's going to be able to get to kind of write her own deal, I think, for her, and a tremendous player, tremendous girl, tremendous family. I mean, just real good family. And yeah, we know a little bit about that. Ainsley, she's not here this weekend. It's homecoming weekend for us in Hudson, so she wanted to enjoy her senior homecoming, so she didn't choose to participate this weekend, and that's okay. But yeah, we've made a number of visits and starting to get the list narrowed down, and hopefully here fairly soon we'll have some decisions made. But yeah, it's a cool process. We talk about it a lot. It's really fun to be wanted. I mean, it's cool to be wanted in those hard decisions to, tell a coach yes or no. But just, and I guess if you're a parent or somebody listening, or even a kid listening, the biggest piece of advice I think I can give you is go ahead and take all the visits, but make sure that you communicate. If you decide that maybe that's not the place for you, and right away, coaches would much rather have you tell them no than not say anything at all. And that's the one thing that we've really stressed with Ainsley's process is just that, and every coach has been super, super appreciative of that fact.
That's a great point. Great point, because the coaches, they want to have you in the program, but they also need to be able to, have the backup plan or move on to other athletes in that sense as well. And so they've got to have their plan. What's their fallback, if you will, should your athlete choose not to attend said program. It's always nice to get a parent's kind of point of view on that as well in the process. We talked about Macy Jones earlier, and again, same situation. U18, the entire, I feel like U18 boys and girls divisions are firmly in the visiting of universities and colleges portion of life.
Well, I mean, I know way more about the girls than I do the boys, obviously, but like Ainsley's class this year, I mean, that's Ainsley, that's Gianna, that's Abby, that's Caitlin Stahl. I mean, and there's a ton of senior girls here too, but that class is just, I mean, I was talking to Billy Gasson at a Recruit Us event probably 6 months ago, and we both agree that like that's going to be the class that absolutely changes the PWBA. Like it is absolutely going to change it. Like
I've been saying it for probably about 2 years.
Yeah. It's just crazy how good they are.
Without question. I think once I started working on the Elite Youth Tour, and I pop in over on 19 to 22, by the way, folks, just to see, I think that's Nicholas Sachs, I think. Double 8 spare, 6-bagger. Rushdeen, by the way, does have the front 8 on 13 and 14, so we're inching closer to maybe taking a peek down there. But once I saw or started working on the Elite Youth Tour and understood that that Gianna and Abby, and then nationally the players you just talked about, the class of 2025 and what that actually really was about, all of the players it's going to be fantastic. Oh, get a break.
That's a good run. Still gonna get 250. Make a spare.
Justin there, 213. Scoring pace for game one, I think, again, slightly lower as players really kind of decipher what the short pattern truly is. Right? Is it a short pattern that I can just kind of get comfortable, throw it to the gutter? or is it, does it play longer than what it should? That kind of thing. And you can see some of the faces starting to give you signs of both.
And you got 15 minutes on your starting pair. And now what did the pair that you moved to, what did they do to him? Get lucky. Hey, there you go.
Okay. Rushdeen with the front 9.
We're both willing them down over here, and nobody knows what we're talking about. It's not on the screen.
Rush does have the front 9, so we might take a little journey down.
Well, and Nick Sachs did make a spare. Leaves a 3-pin there. Good start, 250. Nothing wrong with that.
And folks, I apologize earlier. I did this in our earlier round. But on 19 to 22, there's this random kind of looks like a cable-like flicker that happens once in a while. I went to go buy a new cable, thinking that, let's just go and replace the HDMI. And doing that did not solve the problem during the break, which really makes me perturbed. So that just means that my attendance at tonight's social is going to be delayed because I'm the type of person that won't leave the building until I feel like it's satisfactory for the next day.
And that's what makes your production of our event so good. I mean, I tried to give you all the props. You didn't want to take them, but this is what it is. This is exactly what it is.
Silently fuming. Silent. But not as good as young Nicholas here. Nice jam. 256. And he bowled well this morning, too.
He did. Yeah, he did bowl well this morning.
He and his brother Josh, I believe their parents are here as well. They've been someone I've gotten, or players I should say, I've gotten a chance to really watch up close. Charlie Wiedmeyer there, not bad.
That's a big hit for Ashlyn, too. That gives her a shot at 260 if my math is right. I can't see that far.
Yeah, let's take a quick look. Yes, it does. No, 250.
59.
She's in the 250s.
Yeah, and she was one that she absolutely loved the practice session last night. And got a little, I think she got a little trick this morning. But like I say, no doubt in my mind with the kind of player she is. She'll bounce back this afternoon and she'll have a good run.
Nice game. 259. Right now, it's the leader in the clubhouse, but young Rushdeen got a chance to do something special here. We did have we had 2 games of 270 or better this morning on the long pattern. We had a 273 from Addison Cole and 277 from Vicky Andrews. And now that I say that, I feel that there was a 279.
I was going to say that I want to say there was 3, maybe 4
from someone else.
Okay, finish it up, buddy.
I don't know, the check MP. Oh, this is cool. Let's see. We've got. Now you've known Brandon Steen for a long time, so is he nervous right now? Based on his look, he's at the counter. He looks okay to me.
I think he's all right.
Okay.
I mean, we get a couple more. Honestly, the funny thing is you say that, and my wife is standing next to him. My wife is way more nervous than he is. I mean, Rush and Ainsley might as well be brother sister. I mean, we do a lot of stuff together and travel a lot together, and kind of treat each other's kids like their own, but like our own. But yeah, I promise she's way more nervous than he is. But man, lots of good scores across the house so far. I mean, there's some that are a little confused. It looks like, but there's still a bunch of good numbers. Kind of I don't know. It might be down a little bit from this morning. There's some kids getting them. Like I say, the big trick's going to be getting to the next pair and seeing what they did in front of you.
Yeah. That we talked about that with Addison Cole this morning. She shot 273 on 19 and 20. Didn't have quite the same look, but obviously, as you said, 15 minutes practice, and then a full game's worth of lanes changing. In that sense, great point there.
Emily Kringle, nice finisher. She's got a chance at 220. She bowled well this morning too.
She was working hard and just trying to get a physical tweak going at the end of the practice session last night. Might be paying off. All right, let's take a look at young Rushteen. Left of your screen, he's got the front 9. The cameras are out, certainly behind lanes 13 and 14 as one might imagine. First shot, didn't like it. Through the nose, 3-6-10. I felt that Rush was in this situation last year, in this term.
Maybe.
I feel like he had 300 possibilities.
So now that fires out, I can say it. I said last night during practice, I actually predicted somebody was going to shoot 300 this morning. Like, just looking at the long last night, I'm like, you know, there was enough friction in the right spot that
It definitely was out there.
Yeah, and then a couple folks make a run at it, and yeah, I you know, if you were going to get this one, it's probably game 1, maybe game 2. I just think that the caliber of player across the house is going to make it tough to really be super consistent, I think. Just because I think they're going to kind of cross them up a little bit. Because you've got so many, I mean, just looking right now, you've got so many different styles going down the lane already that it could get a little tricky. And this one, Vicky, I mean, that's a bone 9. That's terrible. But she is one, she's a little unorthodox, right? But I've known Vicky a long time. And I remember she's a local kid from Des Moines, and her and my daughter are the same age. And watching Vicky at Pepsi U8 and just spinning a white dot off the gutter, off the wrong foot, and just absolutely killing them. Like, I've been watching her do this forever, and she's got something in that voodoo roll, man. It is so good. It is so good. And if she gets hot, look out. I mean, she's an Iowa high school state champion. She's a good player. She's a really good player.
Well, we talked about it. She shot 273 earlier on the long.
So any college coach is watching, I don't think she's got any decisions made either. So figure out a way to talk to her. She'd be a great addition to any program. I really believe that. Good kid. Really good kid.
And she starts in the 230s. Rush did finish out 276, as you saw. Nice game 1 start for Rush. Wow. I tell you, I would love to have Vicky Andrews ball roll.
Oh, it's so heavy. Like, I mean, I feel like it knocked down 20 most of the time. I mean, it's just so heavy. And like I say, if you're a coach willing to handle how she gets there, like from point A to point B, once it's off her hand, it's super, super good. I know it looks a little weird, but man, and I tell her this, so I'm not telling you, I'm not saying anything that I don't talk to her about, but man, she's got it. And when she gets going, man, so Iowa high school state qualifying last year, three games in this house, and fires off 793 to lead going into match play. I mean, had a chance going into 7th, 8th frame of third game. You know, still had a chance to shoot 800. I mean, it just amazing. Just like I say, kind of like Jacob Buttriff, right? If Butters has got it, he's got it, and he just strikes for days. And Vicky is very much that way.
Speaking of Vicky, saying hello to the booth.
That's Ainsley's doubles partner at Youth Open too.
Oh, that's good. That's a good team. Nice job, Dad.
2 years ago, their last year at U15, they were one hit away from an eagle. So they were close this year too. If it wouldn't have been for Eliana Ochina just absolutely whacking them in doubles for like 780 or something crazy number.
She's really good.
She's so good.
I think she's another player that's she's class of 2025.
Same age. Right. Same age. Yep. So yeah, Shannon's got kind of a coup on it down at Jack State. She's got Eliana coming. She's got Caitlin coming. She's got Gianna coming. On top of the 3 junior Team USAers she already has. I mean, they're graduating a couple. It's crazy. I mean, so crazy. They're gonna be so good.
Mr. McConaughey, can you do me a favor?
I'll try.
Can you text our team, our tournament team,
Yeah.
and ask them to just please share this afternoon's live stream?
I can do that.
Get our viewer, or get this event, I should say, in front of as many viewers as we can this afternoon. Now, of course, the weather is great. It's definitely great here in Waterloo. It's almost 86. It might be 86 right now.
It's hot. It's hot for the first week in October. It's going to be back in the 60s or something tomorrow, I guess. But I can't believe, see, we didn't plug this enough. They should have known. If we knew I was coming in, I don't know why we didn't try to. People don't know who I am by now? Sorry. If you're listening and you don't know me, I apologize. I am dry as the day is long. Sometimes I get myself in trouble with that because people think I'm like snotty or something, and I'm really not. I'm just kind of clowning. That's what I do.
I mean, truly, it's one of the best names, obviously, right? And you got to go along with the joke. You have to.
It's okay. I mean, I had a buddy of mine from high school does a podcast once a week, and he asked me to come on, and if he just absolutely like was over the top with the McConaughey stuff, and I'm just like, okay. I mean, I'll play along. We'll do whatever we got to do to try to get listens. I'm in for clicks. I got you. But,
Yeah, every now and then you.
I mean, what's the first thing you told me yesterday? I didn't have any orange on.
No burnt orange, man. Well, it's just, he's one of those cats, right? You see him all the time. He's on game day. He's on ESPN. Obviously, the Texas University of Texas fandom is clear, so it is solid.
Well, and it helps with them being really good at football right now too. I mean, gee whiz, they're loaded.
They are back in business, just like Rushdeen. Bottom left of your screen. Let's go full screen quickly here to Rush. Hook a ton. And it did. Wow, wasn't expecting that. Now there, I think that was a really good example of the short to a degree. Right, well, that one was like, that's got a hook. It does, and then it kind of labors at the end. He's also throwing your thing, so you have to keep that part in mind as well.
And I'll say knowing Rush's game probably a little bit better than most is that was probably just a little quick too. Like probably just a little too quick.
That's the difference right there in urethane and reactive.
Yes.
That right there was fantastic. As Vicky got that one about as right as Rush did, but simply in regards to the type of ball being thrown, the difference there. Benjamin Gear bowled really well too.
He did. He's a West High kid from here in Waterloo, two-time team state champion. He has worked a lot on his game this summer. He's a 2025 boy, obviously, but yeah, he's worked a lot on his game. Worked super hard. He had a good week at Junior Gold this past summer too. I know Ben pretty well. Him and Ainsley practiced quite a bit together. I help him out a little bit in the summertime, but yeah, he's worked really hard. Melanie Burrish just runaway Brooklyn, right? This is another reason why our event is kind of cool, at least to me. We talked about the different caliber of players and being welcoming and stuff. And 2 years ago, Melanie had never bowled on a sport condition. She wanted to get a gym, so she bowled the event. And now she is a regular at our monthly series. I mean, she's been to Junior Gold a couple of times now. I mean, just bowling this to get a gym started her on her path to, I don't know if she's planning on bowling collegiately or not, doesn't matter. But it got her excited into bowling something other than league on Saturday morning. And that's the cool thing that this can be is just exactly that. So if you're at home and you're thinking about bowling and, man, I don't know if I'm good enough, it doesn't matter. Just come and get your experiences. We talk a lot about, with our local kids to get those experiences. A girl on 21 and 22, Lexi Pever, she'll actually be up on 22 here in just a second. Her first big event, she'll be a freshman at Waterloo West, but her dad's a real good bowler here in town. She's been working hard on her game, but you know, just to come out and get a bowling ball and get those experiences, that was a big deal for them, and that's cool. You know, that's part of why we do this. So.
1 second, I'm going to show you that replay from Vicky Andrews' previous shot. Wow, that one got going quickly too. Here's that first look at a different pair now for every player as they've made the jump. All right, watch this shot from Vicky. And just look at the placement. All right, that one got about as far right as Rush's did, but just the reactive and the rev rate there.
Yep.
Allowed that one to not only make the corner, but care.
And so Rush's shot on 20 was almost a mile an hour slower than the one on 19. So he recognized that the shot on 19 was probably a little quick. A little bit of an over a correction, but you know, if he dials in kind of that 17.5 or so where he's pretty comfortable, he'll be all right. He's close enough on both lanes, I think.
Another reason that, or a good way to know it's short, certainly because, you know, Vicky just missed left on that one. Of course, I had no chance of staying on line, no hold at this point on the 35-footer.
No, and we didn't do him any favors either. I mean, the short is tough. I mean, it is. It's tough, but
it was tough last year.
That's something that we really kind of challenge to do is, you know, so many tours, the kids are getting so good that if you give them something 3.5, 4 to 1, like they just absolutely whack them. And I mean, and the long I think was 2.5, 2.6, and Landon's 160 over. I mean, it's not like it was easy.
Right, and they weren't. Without question, they were not.
You know, so we really want to put out I don't want to say a difficult environment, but definitely a challenging environment. Like, you have to execute and make shots, and you can't just kind of throw it all over. You spin one and you catch the next one. I mean, you got to execute. That's always the goal, is that you have to come in here and execute to be successful.
Well, you know, execution is certainly, I won't call it lost, but I think to get to the level of a champion, right, there's not many champions that you see these days who don't execute, especially in the moment.
At a ridiculously high rate. Like, it's not just every so often. It's all the time. All the time.
See Angie Erickson out taking screenshots of the Bowlmetric score sheets.
Hustle and scores, man. I tell you what, if there's any tournament directors not like watching today, I don't understand why everybody doesn't use Bowlmetrics. I really don't understand it. For the cost it is to the organization and the expediency of results and the accessibility of results. I mean, between Bowlmetrics, Lane Talk, and the live stream, like, you could literally be anywhere in the world watching this event and know what's going on the entire time.
Yep.
I just see way too many tournament operators still using whiteboards and stuff, and I'm like, I just. That's not to say I'm not appreciative of their tours and,
Sure.
and their opportunities. I'm not taking shots. That's certainly not where I'm headed.
Well, you're just simply saying there are some resources available that may make the job a little bit easier.
Yeah, and I mean, it's super simple to set up, and it archives all your stuff. And I mean, like, we use it for, that's a good shot from Rush right there. I mean, we use it for our monthly series, and we can keep our championship points on there. I mean, it's super intuitive. I mean, it's super, super good. For not near the money I expected it to be for what it provides.
Mm-hmm.
So get a hold of Ted over at Bowlmetrics and set him up.
Our lanes in front of us are about now in the fourth frame. Actually, in the fifth frame. And a couple of pairs kind of get moving a little slower regarding pace. So this group looks like it's going to actually finish first. all things considered.
We had that this morning a little bit too. We kind of got out of sequence a little bit, and I don't quite understand why. I mean, it could have been, pair disparity or who was on each pair, did they take just a little bit longer, that kind of thing. But I mean, all in all, we bowled 5 games in just under 3 hours this morning with a varying degree of success, I guess I'll say. So I don't think that was too bad from a tournament organization standpoint. And we're kind of looking like that pace here this afternoon too. So you start to get too many kids on a pair, and then they get long. I mean, it's tough to focus for that amount of time anyway, much less now put like 8 on a pair and make it even worse, right? That's something we've always committed to since we decided we were going to come to Cadillac and only be here is, we'll take 102 entries. That gives us 3 through 36 with 1 breakdown pair. Heaven forbid there isn't a problem, but if there is, we got one. The couple extra entries aren't worth not having a place to go if there is an issue, because then it just turns into a real mess. So 102, and we've been blessed to sell it out 2 years in a row now, and had a decent sized waiting list this year that we were able to get a few kids off of from people that couldn't come. But like I say, this is year 3. I don't know how many rounds we're going to go, but
It's funny, I said that earlier when we first came on the air, and I didn't want to confuse people by saying round 3, that round 3 is in the title of the event.
yeah.
But then I said, well, I wonder if, what do we do if we wait? Let's get to round 12 or round 15. Let's make it a true title fight.
Yeah, I mean, if the people continue to want it, and we can continue to drive the sponsorship that we can to make it successful. Yeah, I mean, I think as a committee, we're committed to run this as long as we can continue to make it successful. I mean, I'll tell you for the good shot. Oh, Rush giving a little point. I'll tell you the most difficult part of all of this is continuing to secure funding. I mean, that's the hard part. That's the hard part, because I got asked a couple different times today, why don't we run more of these? I said, well, honestly, because I got to find somebody to help fund $14,000 for an event. That's a lot of money. And to just walk up to somebody and say, hey, I'd love a big chunk of money, and what am I going to get for it? Well, we're going to put you on live stream, we're going to put you on marketing, we're going to do all these things, but I don't have anything tangible to give you. That makes it difficult. And all tournaments, I think, operate within that methodology that, you can't just take entry fees and run an event like this. It doesn't work. There just isn't enough capital to make it all work. And the center here is awesome with helping us out with lineage. I mean, they're not donating it, but they give us a really nice price on lineage. So, I mean, they're really fair with that. We've got all of our sponsors with ADS and the hotels and High Five and the local association and Experience Waterloo. They're all awesome to work with. But at the same time, there's only so much pie to slice up. There's other organizations trying to do different things for different organizations like we do. So if there's any philanthropy out there, I mean, just hit me up, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'm on all that stuff. We'll figure out a way to help you spend your money. No problem there.
In the booth with Matthew McConaughey. What is your title, if you will?
With the foundation?
Yes.
Brandon and I were actually just talking about that. I think I'm the president. I mean, that sounds funny that I don't know, but as a group, I'm sure in the charter there is a title, and I think I am the president. So that's not me trying to be coy, like I don't know, but yeah, I believe I am the president of the Youth Bowling Scholarship Foundation. And really, as a group, there's a group of 6 of us, with Angie, who's on Angie Erickson. She's on our local association board, along with Lindsay Benning.
Nice spare by Melanie Mursh. 2-4-10 conversion.
Nice.
Well done. Continue.
Obviously, Coach Brandon Steen. He's a local high school coach here. Obviously, Rush's dad too, but Brandon's a really good local player, local Hall of Famer here, and really likes to give back. Then Kelly Steimel, her son is actually bowling. He's down on 23 and 24. So she's got a son in the program. She's on our board. Her second year now. Ann Britson, who couldn't be here this weekend, she had something else going on, but she's kind of our marketing and all of the behind the scenes systems guru. That is something I love about Mel. You can, I don't think Mel ever, I've never seen her not happy. Like, I've never seen her not happy. In 3 years, I've never seen her disappointed in it. Disappointed, sure, but like never down on anything. But just real quick to round out our committee, Ann's her son just graduated last year, so she's slowly kind of phasing. Oh, almost 2.810 there too. 2.4810. But so her son graduated, so she's slowly starting to phase out a little bit. I mean, she's got some things that she wants to do personally and professionally that will give us a little less time, and I can understand that. And then myself. So that's the 6 of us. I don't talk necessarily about titles because we all just kind of get things done. You know, I mean, from like a tournament director standpoint, I guess I'd be considered the tournament director for this, even though we've got 5 people working on things, and I'm just kind of the guy that has the microphone up at the front desk going through announcements and announcing awards and that kind of stuff. Letting people put the stopwatch on me. And that did happen absolutely this morning after we talked about it. Like 8 minutes and 42 seconds for my announcements this morning.
Yeah, you were finished pretty early.
I thought I did pretty good on time.
That was solid. Another 5 minutes to go. Chase Heeman, or Heman actually, it's the single pin, but we had a couple of channel dwellers, unfortunately. Seen a couple earlier. But he handled his business on that. It was almost one there on 18. A bit of a 9-pin there for Chase.
You can start to see that, like, the down lane is starting to get tight. You know, you're seeing more of the 2.8, the 2.48, the 2.4810. You know, that they're starting to get a little tighter down lane, and that urethane's starting to kind of show its face a little bit.
For you, yeah, obviously working with a lot of youth, and we know that, you know, Coach Dean is the coach from that regard. But where, what name? Like, give me some of the things that maybe you've picked up on, learned, and you know that you, and even with your own daughter, for example, helping to add a few tips and, you know, things of the trade that when you see something, or any other player. For that matter as well, especially with our youth today, because there's so much info out there, and it's constantly changing.
I think some of the biggest constants, and we kind of talked about it a little bit in recruiting a little bit, but communication for one. And I'm not even talking physical game stuff. Like, communication is so important, whether that's with a parent, whether that's with a coach, whether that's just somebody that's kind of watching you and you're looking for help on the lanes. Like, you have to be able to accurately describe what you see and what you feel. Like, so you have to learn how to use those words effectively. And then attitude. Attitude comes with that too. Like, that is one thing that we've talked to a lot of coaches about, is attitude. Like, and that goes both ways. That's not just the player, that's the parent too, you know, or the coach or whatever. You know, it really being able to stay present. Mental game's a big thing with me. I mean, I was a junior golfer growing up. I was never really a bowler until I got almost to high school, or it's actually junior year of high school. But the game of golf and the game of bowling are very similar from a mental standpoint, because you have to stay present. You can't get ahead of yourself. So that's really the big thing that specifically I talk to really any kid about. is you just have to have the ability to stay present. You can't shoot 300 in frame 2, but you also can't shoot 120 in game 2. Like you've got a long. You just have to stay in the moment. You can't get too far ahead of yourself. And also that same thing with attitude. If you have a poor attitude, the likelihood is that you're going to have a poor performance. Like ironically enough, when an attitude can change or will change positively or negatively, ironically enough, you'll kind of see the score do the same thing. I mean, it doesn't always work out that way, but there are some people who have really had the ability to embrace bowling irritated. But that is a slim group,
Right.
If you can stay in a good positive mental mindset, you give yourself the opportunity to make a good shot and prepare, and you can't control results. You have to be process oriented. So I guess those are probably my 3 things: is communication, attitude, and process. Once the ball leaves your hand, you have 0 control over what happens. So you just have to be prepared 100% of the time to make 100% good shots, and hopefully your execution rate is at that level, and you'll be successful. I've seen lots of really good games bowled poorly and lots of poor games bowled pretty well. It just kind of happens that way. But give yourself a chance. That's all you can do.
Well, Rush has given himself a chance after shooting 276 in game 1.
Yes.
He's figured out 19 and 20. We were talking about Melanie Burrish earlier. This morning I was talking with Coach Steen, actually, and I said, why does her last name sound familiar? And then he said, she bowled the first 2 years. I think he said something else about junior. No, it was you, actually. I was asking that about. Yep. When you went down, you talked about her story, I recall you saying that she was new, basically, hadn't bowled on the sport pattern, etc. And that's like, oh yeah, that's it. That's what I recall.
Yep. And yeah, like I say, she is. I regardless of what the numbers will say, I absolutely view her as a success story to our event. She is exactly the reason that we kind of did what we did. I mean, obviously we wanted the top tier talent too, and we wanted to put on a big professional style event, but just to have the ability to show kids that there is something other than whether it's high school bowling, whether it's league, whether it's state tournament, whatever, there's more to this than just that. And this is kind of the first, I would call it the first natural step into really growing into what you want as a player. Regardless what she decides to do after high school, like just hopefully this will drive her into loving bowling even more and making it a generational sport for her, and she can do it forever, whether she goes to college and bowls league during college or whatever. But yep, pretty cool. And hopefully some of the young kids, there's Emily Schmidt from somewhere in Wisconsin. She's over on 15 and 16, but she's another one. We've only got 7 U15 girl entries this weekend, but she's like 12. She bowled up in Alexandria a couple weeks ago at Nevin's tournament, the Midwest Youth Championships up in Alexandria, Minnesota. But there again, I mean, she was like one of the youngest competitors there, just getting out and learning and trying to grow herself, and that's awesome. Just being willing to take some lumps to learn and really just grow as a person and a player.
Speaking of her, I'm pretty sure she won a U12 UIT title.
Good possibility.
Maybe 2 at this point.
Good possibility. But she's a really good little player. I had never seen her until we saw her in Alexandria this summer, and I was super, super impressed. And, just a really, again, I say this a lot, but just a really good kid. Just a very polite young lady, very well spoken. Mom was super nice, very well spoken, very polite, and there again, good people doing good things. The good karma comes to you, just like keeping yourself in the right frame of mind. It doesn't cost anything to be nice.
You're right.
If the world used a little bit of grace and a little bit of space a lot more often, we'd have a, I don't know. I'll get off my soapbox.
It'd be better.
I just said, doesn't cost anything to be nice. Doesn't cost anything to be kind.
And it doesn't cost anything for Rush Steen to throw good shots. Because
Coach Steen might argue that.
yes, but he is, I mean, really has owned the last 6 frames. Like truly owned them. See what he's got to offer here in frame 9. Again, he's got an opportunity to go back-to-back 270 games to start this round. He's going to enter left of your screen. There he is. Again, 19 to 22 main right now, and then bottom right 23, 26. Doing a little bit of flip-flopping. It's actually 10th frame there. We'll check it out. He's got a little area to work with too. It's good stuff.
That's another thing with Rush is when he stays firm in his process. We talked about process just a little bit. When he is good with his process and doesn't get too quick, you know, it seems like when the temperature goes up, you know, when the agitation rises just a little bit, everything just gets a little quick and just goes too fast. And when he stays within himself and stays in his process, he's awful successful. There's a nice trip 10 from Ben.
Yeah, Ben here. One more of those, he'll be in the 2 teens. Gavin, kind of a, well, you don't see often, backup two-handed righty. We'll go full screen on Gavin here in a moment. I hear some clapping. Did we miss any honor scores? That's Carter Schwiezo, if I remember correctly.
Shisho. Man, I just talked to Corey this morning too, and now I'm going to butcher his name.
Yeah, I asked Carter directly. I thought he told me Schwiezo.
That could be right. They're from over around Council Bluffs.
Got that one going right early. Missed it in the middle part of the lane. You don't see, again, backup two-handed players often. But I do feel recently I saw something, and it was kind of around there's a lot going on in Europe. It felt like that there was an uptick in two-handed backup players in particular.
What do you think the reasoning is for something like that?
That's a great point, but I mean, a great question. Me personally, I would think that you almost have to know how to do it. You need to know how to play both sides of the lane. Now, maybe he began as a backup bowler.
That could be. That
and
makes
said,
sense.
all right, hey, let's try it and see what happens. But I do think you just need to know. And when you watch really good two-handed players all the time and what they are capable of, it's hard to say, hey, we probably want to, get some of those tools that Anthony Simonson has or that Jason Belmonte has. That would probably be a bad idea to.
No, a young player that's really good at that is Zach Andreessen at Mount Mercy.
Okay.
I watched him do that for basically a full shift in Alexandria this summer. Like, he thought the left had it, so he just kind of went and did that. And I mean, he ended up not doing that in the finals, if I remember correctly, but he did it for a full block. I mean, it was like 5 games of it, the whole block. I'm like, man, how do you do that? It's amazing that, again, the younger players being so much more talented and so much more seasoned, like Rush. No, come on. Wow. That's probably my fault. I probably talked right into that. That was a good shot.
Yeah, that's a
maybe a touch quick, but not one or the other, not both.
I think we saw one of those. It might have been on that pair, but somewhere nearby in a crucial kind of situation too. Doesn't take away certainly from the game he's bowled as a whole. And obviously a brutal break. Well, the only thing left now to do, Rush, just go ahead and make it. Had the front 9 in game 1, shot 276. 2 more in the 10th would have put him in the 270s. And give it a bounce.
Oh, yeah!
Rush
Called it. Called it.
Oh, Rush Steen. Boom. Bang. Oh, let's go. There's only one thing left for him to do.
That is great.
Show that break who's boss. Oh, that terrible break, I should say. Come on.
We got Nostradamus Williams over here.
And of course, I hit the button too late. Oh, that's terrible. Now I got to go find this thing somewhere.
I remember the first time I saw Rush make 710. We were at a USBA event that Terry Howe runs. It was actually a clinic that Parker Bone and Kelly Kulik were at Riverboat Lanes in Wabasha, Wisconsin. Woodhouse, like a 40-foot pattern, and it was Guardian fronts.
I do think we have a front 9 or 10 situation down there.
There is. It is on lane 31 and 32.
Well, Rush just made the 710. And now we've got a opportunity at 300. Got to see who that might be. Yeah, let's look at lane talk.
Devin Titus.
Saw Devin earlier. Now we'll give you the radio call. That was the 11th shot.
Chesney Park, Illinois.
No, that's from, he's near Rockford. Or that's basically Rockford, Illinois. Of course, a hotbed certainly for bowling. Devin Titus, ball on the lane on the high end. Oh, good shot.
Wrap 10, 299. Great game.
Well, that was a clutch shot there. Good shot. Well,
3 years, we still haven't had one. We're getting close, though. Maybe today's the day. We've had a couple of good runs already today.
3 years of the tournament, still no 300. Didn't think about that. Good point.
That's a good way to fly up the leaderboard, though.
That's a good way to, yes, it is.
Plus 99 is never a bad score. Not for game, not for one game.
You, sir, are a smart cookie.
Andy likes to say big brain. Big brain.
Take a look at Rush's 710 look here. That's great.
That's awesome. So good. In a big spot, too. I mean, he turns 230 into 250.
Yeah, but we were just talking about, of course, the terrible break, which it was, but he handles the business there. And now instead of now he goes 270, 250 as opposed to 230, as you just talked about.
Yep.
And just like that, we are just about into game 3 for every group. 21 and 22 in the 10th frame. Grizzly Potter Jr. shot 220 on 15 and 16. He wraps up game 2. Speaking of that, quick look at Macy Jones finishing up game 2. There's Macy right at your screen. Struggling early, but figure some things out late. Able to save now 189. That's a good save. Great save, in fact. If you're just joining us, folks, or you've been watching, tuning in, maybe you got us on in the background. Appreciate those who have taken some time to hang out and check in the taking the Midwest Youth main event. Round 3 is the name of the tournament. 3rd consecutive year for this wonderful and growing event. We've got Matthew McConaughey, who is we deemed him the president of the Youth Bowling Scholarship Foundation. Speaking of Emily Schmidt, there she is.
I just wait till she gets a little bit stronger and just physically matures a little bit more. She's got some great building blocks, great foundation.
In your experience with Ainsley, because earlier I was talking to Andy about foundation and how you can go watch U12, the U12 division of Junior Gold, see a couple of players that, just like Emily, that foundation is really good, and then 5 years later you may see them again and haven't seen them since. But as soon as you see them, the foundation hasn't changed because fundamentally they were so good at that age that they've only, of course, enhanced, continue to build upon what they already had. How important do you think at the younger ages? And obviously, everyone's different, and so everyone has to kind of be molded differently.
Yep.
But if you see a player with, in the U12s, for example, who have those foundations, how important do you think that is to kind of jump starting, kind of one's career, if you will?
I think at probably Emily's age, probably younger than Emily, like everybody tends to worry, and the goal of the game is to score. I mean, you want to knock down all the pins. You want to knock down as many pins as you can every time. And sometimes fundamentals will be lost in, I'm going to go from 10 pounds to 12 pounds because, man, I just need one more hit, right? I just get a couple more pins with those 12 pounds. But maybe the 12-pound ball kind of swings the player as opposed to the player swinging the ball. Those little things. So and Andy Dirks actually talks about it the best where, I believe it was his son Alex, I don't think he went bigger than 14-pound equipment until maybe he was in college because Andy deemed fundamentals and rev rate, spin rate, more important than the weight of the bowling ball, like being able to control the bowling ball. But those fundamental things, like we get so quick to worry about score and raising their average and all of these types of things, when in reality, hindsight's always 20/20. But if you could give up those couple of years with maybe a 5 or 7 pin average jump because we went up in ball and we got more hits, but we didn't throw it quite as good. Fast forward to 5, 6, 7 years later, that extra pinfall 4 years ago wasn't near as important as it was when you get to be a freshman, sophomore, junior in high school. So, yeah, the building blocks are supremely important, and hindsight's 20/20 because I got caught in that too. We did that with Ainsley. I mean, she's in 15-pound equipment now, and maybe that's the right ball weight, maybe it's not. Just don't get stuck in trying to get more hits at a young age. Try to learn how to do it well. It's like throwing curveballs for little league pitchers. If you can change speeds and hit spots, you can get just as many outs as the ball moving. And this is kind of the same thing. You can knock down a lot of pins with not a ton of hook or that kind of thing. Just be fundamental and learn those building blocks, and yeah, they're definitely going to pay off in the long run. Don't get caught trying to make count as a 10-year-old. That I don't think it's worth it. Now every bronze, silver, and gold level coach can tell me I'm wrong, and but there again, that's the other thing. You know, with all players are different, they need to be molded into the best version of themselves. Well, every coach has a philosophy too. So you know, I'm not going to pick on Emily, but I'm using her as an example.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's the type of player that obviously she has somebody coaching her that is very sound fundamentally. You can see it in her game, and hopefully she would continue to work in that same arena and not try to do anything drastic with what she has, because she has a fantastic foundation. She really just needs to grow into that. You know,
right.
she's just still, you know, physically young, and age-wise she's young. She just got to fill into those fundamentals, and they're just going to continue to get better and better.
Rush starts with the early double. Macy Smedley. We saw Koenig Robinson a little bit earlier on the long pattern. Over on 19 and 20, Derek Lewandowski has made his way, and he was pretty impressive this morning. Speaking of Derek, Nick Tharp was pretty impressive too. He had a very difficult ending though to his day. He went gutter spare, and then almost the exact same, almost to the T regarding entry angle as Rush. Blower 710.
Nick's another good kid. He's a local kid here. We talked a little bit during this morning's block. Just a little bit. He was hitting the pocket a lot and starting to get a little frustrated with his lack of carry, and probably got his process just a little too quick a couple of times. And I just asked him, I said, what makes the second ball less important than the first one? Well, it's not. I said, then treat them the same. You know, don't get too fast because you're frustrated that you missed something, that you don't pay off the spare on a,
Right.
9 spare this morning was not a bad number. I mean, I know there was some big scores, but it wasn't a bad number. But 9 out is no good.
Gonna hurt you every time.
But Derek's another, I wouldn't call him necessarily a local player. He's from Muscatine. It's a couple hours from here. But again, another really good kid. Katie Kirchner's also on this pair. She'd be the first bowler on 19. She's from Vinton, Iowa, about half hour, 45 minutes from here. Let's see. I think Alex Huntley is on 19 too. He's one of our Greater Cedar Valley kids. Bowls for Waterloo East here in town for his high school program.
A good start down there on 11 and 12. Dawson Cole, unfortunately, his bowling ball made contact with a sweep. Someone else down there on his pair at the front 4. We'll see that group in maybe game 5, looks like. There's Derek. Did he bowl last year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. He's bowled all 3 years, I believe, if I remember correctly. He had he had a shirt on during practice yesterday, in true probably his age form. He loves to throw the urethane, and he had a picture of a purple hammer on his T-shirt, and it said, "Don't be mad, you can throw one too." I got a kick out of that, so that was pretty funny.
I respect the game right there.
you can love it, you can hate it. It doesn't matter. It is a part of the game. It's going to be a part of the game. No different than 360 and 180 pads. I mean, they are very much a part of the game now, even though some traditionalists may not care for it. It's an evolution that isn't going away. Nathan Lockhart up on 21. Just got a strike there. He's from Cedar Rapids here, about 40-ish minutes away from the center. Really good high school player. We've got a lot of local high school kids that you see across the state bowling high school stuff. Easton Wiedebrand is another one. He's going to be up on 21 right after Nathan. He's from northwestern Iowa. 3.5 hours from here. Another high school player. Oh, Derek, good shot.
Take a quick look at bowl metrics. Again, that link to the results is pinned up top in the Bullstream TV chat. U15 boys, after 2 games, only missing a couple of scores, so it should be good. But Risley Potter Jr. plus 45, JT Grothis plus 43 here on the short. Tatum Lee plus 8. Easton Taylor minus 12. Seppi Vetter minus 29, not too bad. U15 girls, Lea Basevic, Emily Schmidt, and Addison Johnson, all really just separated by 10 pins. See the race to who's going to get the gold medal on the short pattern here in U15 girls. In U18 boys, of course, Rushdeen 131 over for 2. Devin Titus 114 over for 2. Again, Steen 276, 255, Titus 215, 299. Josh Weems 84 over, 233, 251. Mats Thunberg 213, 245 plus 58. Griffin Jordan 49 over, as is Lucas Boyd. Micah Jensen 44 over.
Just look at all the 220 plus in the top 12, 13, 14 kids.
Well, that U18,
for 2 games.
U18 boys.
Juggernaut.
Tough, just tough. And then, of course, U18 girls. Ashlyn Tevis got out the gate strong, struggled in game 2, so she's still leading, though. 25 over, 259, 166. Vicky Andrews, 237, 160. Looks like all of the top players in the U18 girls who started well went to that next pair.
Yep.
and struggled a little bit, of course. Well, I don't think there was one 200 game. That might be a rarity.
Especially with our field, right? I mean, there are some just absolute three junior team USAers for sure off the top of my head. That might be it, but I mean, just a number of really, really good players, and to not have a 200 in game 2 really just is a testament to how different the pattern played pair to pair.
Well, there's only 4 total in the first 2 games, and 4 of them were, of course, game 1, and that was your top 4. They're still in the top 4, kind of in order to that degree. How about that? That's a rarity. Like, that's really something you don't see every day.
But now Macy's gone to her third pair now, Macy Jones. She grabbed a double and, you know, double 9 spare. I can't see. And Vicky's struggling again, game 3. You know, you got to wonder if some of the tightness down lane that's created with the lack of rev rate is going to help to have them struggle. You know, so now do you have to get into something bigger to make sure it changes direction? If you were throwing something shiny, you know, what are you going to do, and are you going to allow 160s and 170s to continue?
It is an interesting conundrum. Because, yeah, you're right. I mean, you would think they would be thinking about something, and that could be it for this game. I think Vicky's probably down. She's on 25 and 26. So we can go take a look actually at how things are going. I see a couple of red circles on her scorecard.
Yeah, strike, 6 out strike, 7-1, 7-1. I was looking to see where maybe like Gianna and Abby, you know, what are they? I don't know where they're at in the building. There's Abby down there.
See, I saw Gianna in that 9, 10, 11, 12 range, I thought, a game ago.
Just, you know, like I say, like we talked about, no 200s last game. You know, what are they going to try to do to combat that? So Abby's on 10. She goes 9-3, leaves the 1, 2, 4, 8, and then doubles behind it. So, you know, she might have something figured out. Kind of started that way. Gianna comes out with a double, ring 10 through 3. So, you know, the cream always, Walter Ray always said it best, right? The cream always rises to the top if you give them enough time. And one of the greatest of all time. He's right. Weird, but and that's really what makes the great players different from the really good ones, right? I mean, they understand what's next and what they need to do, and how to stay present and overcome, and maybe stay a little patient and not panic, and be able to make those adjustments that are needed to ultimately score.
You're watching game 3 here on the short pattern. Yeah, 35 feet, 1.96 to 1. It's been the ratio, or is the ratio, for this particular pattern. And you know, all things considered, again, we anticipated it would be a little bit more challenging, and not that the long pattern wasn't, because it was, but challenging more in a different way. And I think that challenge has, for the most part, been proven correct, just based on some of the stats that we just talked about.
Josh has got a nice little string working down there on 11 and 12 too. He's 7 out, strike, 9 spare, 4 bagger. Dawson Nischel up here on 15 and 16. He's working on a 5 bagger. I talked to his folks a little bit during the break. They're from Northwest Iowa. It's about 4 hours down here to bowl. But just where they're at, they don't have a ton of stuff to bowl. So they're appreciative of the opportunity to come over here, and you know, like we've said a lot, and I jinxed him, of course, but you know, it takes willing participants too. You know, you can run an event without entries, it doesn't matter. So two-way street. Good sponsors, good proprietors, good participants. Pulls off good events. And we try to give away a lot of money.
A lot of money indeed. $1,500 scholarships. Some divisions here this weekend. First place, along with some championship belts, which are very cool. Love a good championship belt.
We've got something cool cooked up for the finals this year too. So the high qualifier gets to pick the pattern that division bowls in.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
So that's going to be we've tweaked the finals every year, just trying to continue to make it a desirable experience. And what advantages can we give the leaders and those types of things. And this is what we came up with this year. Was we're going to let the overall high qualifier of each division, they're going to pick what pattern the finals is on, and then we'll run it fresh and give everybody plenty of practice on it and stuff. But you know, we talked to the center here and to ask if they were willing to do something like that for us, and they absolutely were. So excited to see how that goes. That'll be an interesting change this year.
What do you anticipate on the schedule? Like, I think I was talking to Coach Dean about it, because we're not changing pairs, right? Correct.
Correct. So the finals will all be contested just like last year. We'll use 19 through 26 for our finals. The center says they can have, regardless of what pattern, if we pick 3 patterns, that they can still have lanes done within 30 minutes. So that's awesome. We've got some scores to tally up. We've got raffles to give away. We'll have some awards to do. I mean, so we'll have some other things wrapped up there in the middle, to where it shouldn't feel like too much impact. Because if you remember last year, we ran fresh lanes for the finals too.
Yeah.
So I would anticipate that it might take a little bit longer, but hopefully it won't be too much. And you could get all 3 or all 4 divisions on the same pattern too. I mean, they might pick the same thing and it won't take hardly any time. But it'll be interesting. It's going to be a unique dynamic, I think. It's just I think you and I talked last year in this event, you know, trying to figure out how to finish tournaments, you know, and what format do you use, and this is just another iteration of that for us. Is, you know, just another attempt to, you know, the number 1 seeds have an advantage, but at the same time it's slightly a disadvantage because, you know, you only get 1 game, you know, all kinds of different ways to end it. But so that's just our way of trying to give the number 1 seed another advantage, you know, because I mean they deserve it. If they won the whole event, or if they're leading the whole thing, I mean that's a thing. So
back over next door real quick. 23 to 26, 23 and 24 finishing up game 3. The pace in regards to strikes thrown slowing just a little bit, but as Matthew just mentioned, Josh Weems putting together a game. And then let's see, 1-2. Josh is going to be on 17 and 18 for game 4, and then he'll end on 23 and 24. In fact, he's bowling with Aiden Oden, who led U15 boys this morning on the long pattern. His sister is at Wichita State.
Yep, sophomore at Wichita. I had really never seen Aiden bowl much. They're from over the Council Bluffs area too. Yeah, he was super impressive this morning. I was really impressed with his game. Really impressed. We keep talking about it, right? How the younger the kids, they just keep getting better and better and better. And I mean, I remember starting to watch, you know, Josh's group and Rush and Anthony, and Zane Shockensy's in that group, you know, just Micah Jensen, all of those kids that have now kind of moved on to U18 from when they were even in U12s. It's just, it's crazy how good the younger kids are. You know, they're just so talented. So talented. Speaking of Zane.
Well, there he is, about to either make the walk, looking for a bowling ball, one or the other. From right to left. Hopefully Melanie's okay there. That one did not come off her hand properly. And made its way to the channel.
That's a good shot from Vicky down there. Maybe she can get hot, get out this last part of the game and save a number here.
It looks like right now, if you're closer to the gutter at this point of the block, and with three games almost done, if you're closer to the gutter, that actually may not be good, because that carry down and hang that was near the gutter, but certainly some carry down, is actually not helpful. And so I'm seeing more players be near or closer to the track.
Yep. Yeah, the urethane has pulled enough oil off the front part of the lane and made the heads want to hook a little bit, and the down lane's getting a little tight. But then as soon as you make that move in, you know, you've got to be, you still have to project the ball right, because if you get it going forward at all, it's gonna come off really quick still. So it's tricky. It's, like I said, we didn't do him any favors. It was not an easy pattern.
What's your process for when you consider which patterns you'd like to see out there on the lanes?
Oh, I just pull up Kegel and I just point at it, and that one. No. Last year we did a lot of work with John Janowitz at Kegel. He helped us out a bunch. He actually fully designed the patterns for us last year. This year with JJ being JJ and you know, trying to be player of the year and not super senior, but super player on the senior tour. We didn't want to try to take up too much of his time. So we did some selection of some existing patterns and then kind of coordinated with him to how it would work with the surface here, and you know what changes he would suggest on a few different things. So we collaborated with them, and honestly, like Nick Hoagland stuff. I mean, a lot of these kids go to Junior Gold anyway, and it seems like Nick's patterns really never shut anybody out. Like, you might have to be super good at whatever it is you're going to do, but his patterns are very accessible. Like, every style has an opportunity. This morning's pattern was a Hoagland pattern from, I can't remember what year, Junior Gold. The Janowitz helped us tweak just a little bit for the center here. But there again, it was one of those patterns that didn't shut anybody out. So obviously we want something difficult. If it's already been bowled on, if it's already been at a tournament series or whatever the case may be, we'll go and look at the scores from that particular event and look at the scoring pace and those types of things to, you know, see kind of how difficult it will seem to be. I mean, obviously you never know until you get it down on the lane. But that's kind of how our process works. You know, we want 3 very distinct distances. The way Brandon and I kind of go about it is we want the long to play like a long, we want the short to play like a short, and the medium's just always going to kind of be, I don't want to say a crapshoot, that's not right, but you know, you just, at this type of an event, you don't have everybody quote unquote play them correctly.
Right.
You know, so they're not going to break down necessarily like they would on a PWBA tour or a PBA tour, you know, those types of things, but You know, we want longs to feel long, we want shorts to feel short, and then the medium be something difficult that you still have to, you know, you might have multiple angles, but you still have to be able to go and execute and do things right. So.
Some struggles here on 19 and 20 this game. Trying to finish as strong as possible. Good double there from Alexander Huntley. We'll take it. Macy Jones not struggling here. She's got a chance at 250. Still a few frames left to go. Curious, when did, for you and maybe this area, when did two-handed bowling perhaps start to kind of take off and get popular?
I helped with we have a middle school bowling program that's kind of morphed into more the high schools operating it at this point. You know, it's kind of feeder programs for them. But when middle school bowling first kind of started here locally, I don't want to say started, maybe had a resurgence is probably the better way to put it. Back the year before COVID and then COVID, we saw a lot of kids learning, you know, coming out and just bowling two-handed. So I would say probably that time frame. That's probably close. I mean, we've got, well, like Jace this morning, he's a freshman here in town, so he would have been included in that group. Who else is in that group? Hunter Steimel, he's in that group. There's a number of kids that age, and now obviously younger. Coach Steen and I have talked a lot. Like if we were teaching a brand new bowler, the likelihood is that you'd teach them to put two hands on the bowling ball. I mean, there's just so much advantage to that early, you know, and you can get them that hook early too. Like what's the thing that draws kids into bowling? It's not usually, you know, throwing nice and straight at spares and doing all that stuff. It's no, I want to come to glow bowl or rock and bowl or whatever, and I want to get a house ball. And what's everybody do? They want to spin it and they want it to hook 45 boards. What's the fastest way to get the ball to hook? Put two hands on it. The fundamentals are the same, but you can see shape right away. And if that's the thing that gets you hooked and you want to get better, now we can start to work backwards and start to build that foundation into what you want to do. But you're excited to see the ball hook.
Right.
So that's kind of where the two-handed thing comes from here. And I would say probably 18, 19, 20, kind of in that age range or year range time frame. Kind of got things rolling here. And ironically enough, there's a ton of one-handed boys in this field, which is kind of atypical anymore. You know, that's just not how it works.
Big thank you again to all of the sponsors here: ADS Recycling, H5G, the Greater Cedar Valley USBC, Roto Grip, Experience Waterloo, the other place, PBA Junior, Hampton Inn. Also Cadillac Extreme, Storm Evolution program, and many more. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you are listening and hearing, would love to know just kind of where you're watching it from. You don't have to participate, but if you feel so inclined to do so, always like to know where some of the viewers are watching from. You might be watching some of your favorite players in their respective hometowns, but either way, we appreciate you. Do me a favor, if you wouldn't mind as well, make sure you hit the thumbs up, smash that thumbs up button, and subscribe to Bowlstream TV. That way, you will receive some notifications when we do go live, like tomorrow morning, for example, which will be at 8 a.m. Central Time. 8 a.m. Central Time for the medium pattern. And then the finals will begin at about noon-ish or so, again, Central tomorrow, as Grizzly Potter Jr. One more, he's going to put himself in with an opportunity to get into the 2-0s. Appreciate Matthew McConaughey for hanging out. Potter. Risley gets to 194. Mentioned Bonnewell, and then Macy Jones still the opportunity to get into the 250s. DJ, that's a great point. The joy, that's someone who just enjoys or understands, you know, at the heart of it. If you love bowling, you want to get out there and get it done. And that's what it's about. Thanks, Rick, for sharing. Rick out there in Vandalia, Illinois. Rick, I don't know if you were watching earlier, but Andy Belo was in the chair to my right. And I was talking about Macy and where she practices, which is Vandalia Bowl. And two players that I know personally. I actually spent some time at Vandalia. Here is Macy. That's got a hook. Bang. Josie, of course, Barnes now. And Jessica Ernest, of which, Rick, I'm sure you know. It's pretty cool. Fun fact. Macy practicing at the same place that the Ernest family used to own.
I saw her wandering around in a Vandy sweatshirt yesterday, too. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Yep, man, it's so cool. I mean, her class, too. You know, that's another loaded class, you know, the 26 class. Good shot. She's going to bust the theory on 200s after game 1.
Yeah, I'm interested to see bowl metrics for game 3.
Yes. And we've got a great staff to get scores updated really quick, which is really nice. That I will say that is something that we really pride ourselves in. That, you know, if the pacing is correct, you're not waiting till almost the end of the next game to see where you're at. Like, you know, we're going to go into game 5. You know, we're in game 4 now, but, you know, almost everybody's done with game 3. Within 10 minutes of the last ball being thrown for the last pair in game 3, we're going to have scores up. You know, so that is something that we really pride ourselves on. And honestly, during announcements and such, and make sure that it's really clear to the players that, you know, hey, for you to see your results quickly, you don't want us to search for your sheet. So we go as far as we put it on colored paper, put it on the counter. I mean, we try to make it really easy for our score collectors to go and grab those scores so you can know what's going on real quick. Because there's nothing worse than, you know, bowling a 5, 6, 7 game block and it's game 6 and there hasn't been a score update since game 4. Like, hey, do I got to shoot 250 or can I keep treading water at 2-0? You know, you just got to know. You can't. No other sport does that. Like, if you're in a basketball game, the scoreboard's right there. You know what you got to have, and you know, baseball, softball, football, whatever. Why should bowling be any different? It shouldn't be a guessing game.
Emily Schmidt will close out game 3 officially. Speaking of Andy, there he is chiming in the chat, asking about the short pattern. How is it playing? Matthew, what would you your best words on your observations on how this pattern has played? I will then share mine.
I think the players have definitely crossed them up a little bit, just due to the varying styles. Out of the gates, it wasn't too bad. I mean, the friction was very prevalent. But yeah, we've kind of crossed them up a little bit, and it seems like some of the girls for sure are getting into something a little bigger, be able to control the carry down. But I mean, I'm still watching plenty of purples go down the lane too. So there's there's always that. Scoring pace is down a little bit from game one, but I think overall the pace is probably down a little bit from this morning too, which should be expected. This is a more difficult pattern for sure.
I think, Andy, it's played just about it, almost like we prefaced it, the way you broke it down. At this point, it looks like, though, if you are playing closer to the gutter, for the most part, this is not for everyone. Like Macy doesn't include like Abby Starkey, but there's a lot of players who can't really get it closer to the gutter without seeing some kind of hang or carry down situation. So if you can get into the track again for some and still try to create just enough angle. You don't need a ton, but you need a little to be able to corner and get some things popping. Young Patrick Martinez. He was here at Cadillac XBC a couple years ago.
Excited to have you guys back next summer too. That'll be cool.
That's right. PWBA is returning for a standard event, the Waterloo Open. Early June.
Yep.
June 5th through the 7th.
Man, I tell you what, that was a lot of fun hosting Championship Week, 2 years ago, and the city and the community really came out and really embraced the tour that week. That was a lot of fun. I can't ever remember having more fun in the center than that week as a spectator. That was a lot of fun.
I was just going to say, like, what was it like for you as a fan that week?
Well, the first day I wasn't, because Ainsley bowled. So,
that's right.
So that Wednesday I wasn't. It was, I got a firsthand. I'll joke. Yeah, Jordan Richard, now Jordan Snodgrass, and Ainsley had 2 300s that block. Jordan had 2 and Ainsley had none. But anyway, but to watch the greatest in the world, like Ainsley bowled really well on Wednesday, and I mean had like 2 missed makeables in 12 games. I mean she had a really good block, 2 good blocks, and the ladies just absolutely ran him over. I mean, it was, hi Carson. It was so cool to watch them. I mean, almost like sharks to water. Right? As soon as they figured out where the friction was, they just absolutely just beat the heck out of it and just made it look super easy, and it wasn't easy. But as a spectator, it was a lot of fun to have the players here. And they were so accessible. They were so kind with their time, so generous with their time. I mean, we had just a jam-packed place for the Pro-Am. I mean, it was. I didn't participate in the Pro-Am, but we came out and watched, and man, just a ton of fun. It was really, really cool to have that much talent all in one place, and like I say, have them being so kind and generous with their time and being so accessible. You're out here doing your job, and you're taking time for pictures and autographs and tips and everything else. Really cool.
Look forward to having the best in the world. I said, yeah, no matter what, I'll probably come back for that. It's my mom's birthday on June 5th, but I'll probably, no matter what I'm doing during that time frame, 'cause that is a few months from now. But it is on the schedule. Lillian Smith just over, she is beyond the that divider on the left of your screen. But she had a nice game going earlier this morning, and then a brutal 8-pin first shot attempt. She was on like a 7-bagger. Oh, I've seen 3 or 4 devastating 8-pins today. Each one just continues to turn the knife slowly.
I didn't know much about Lillian before she came here. St. Louis area, I believe. She was just at an EYT here not that long ago. Pretty successful, might have won. Yeah, she was kind of laid into our, she got in off our waiting list, if I remember correctly. Yeah, she's from the St. Louis area.
Yep, from Southern Illinois, Belleville, Illinois. Holds out a St. Clair Bowl in Fairview Heights.
Home of McKendree.
That is correct. Favorite bowlers are Daria Payok and E.J. Tackett.
I guess those are both okay. I mean, they're pretty solid. Pretty solid players.
Well, they've got a combined, I don't know, 1050 rev rate.
Yeah, that might be
Maybe
a little
more
light.
than that, actually.
It might be pretty conservative.
Yeah, I go left and then right and then left.
Young Cody here, I watched him over on 17 and 18. He was putting together a nice game. In fact, he's moved further left. He's actually the player that, watching him, kind of keep it around or in the track area with your thing. I'm like, oh, okay. It's like that might where you need to be at this point. It looks like he's seen something else that has made him move a little left, getting to this pair. Appreciate again everybody tuning in, supporting youth bowling here today and this weekend. Uh-oh, JT Grothus. I'll check out 19 to 22 here in a moment. Young Patrick Martinez. Patrick, what are you doing right now? What are you up to? He's already replaying 8 pins, apparently. Patrick knows me very well in that regard. 8 pins scare me.
I will tell you that the chemistry that you guys have developed over the last few years with the Bowl TV community, like as a staff, you guys have done tremendous work. I mean, it's very enjoyable to watch because at one point in time, all the way back to what did Bowl TV used to be with the PBA? I can't remember what it was called.
Extra frame.
Extra frame. You know, you could get so much like content, but to actually have that extra layer of production with good commentary and good analysis, it's if you're not paying for Bowl TV, and they don't sponsor me, but I'd certainly take their sponsorship. It's a fantastic product to purchase, and really, if you love bowling, you need to get on board. Regardless of the tour, they do a really nice job of producing that, all the way from all of the analysts and play-by-play gentlemen. You guys do a great job. Super good.
Well, we appreciate you, Matthew. Thank you for that. Make sure I share that. Patrick says it's leg day. He just finished. I cannot say the same. Although this pattern might be the equivalent of leg day.
Yeah, I don't see many gyms anymore, but yeah, I don't think this wouldn't be my pick if I was going to pick one to bowl on right now.
Yeah, since with that wrinkle for tomorrow, and the #1 seeds being able to choose a pattern, I would be very interested, and obviously more than likely, those players would choose what they were best at or on, so they can be on the offensive. But I would be curious if someone said, how about a little defense?
I mean, if you are one of those that, it depends on really how much strategy you want to put into it, right? If you are one of those that you know that you can do pretty well on anything.
Well, 6, 7, 10 conversion there. Nice job by Tatum Lee.
North Dakota someplace. I don't remember what part of North Dakota, but long ways down here for him to bowl. But yeah, like I say, depending on how much strategy you want to involve, if you know that you're you're pretty good at everything, and one of your competitors or a couple of your competitors in the stepladder might not be good at something. Yeah, I mean, why not? You know, I'm better at you than this, and I know you're not real good at this, so come get me. You know, I see a kid like, which he's no longer eligible to bowl this event anymore, but Trey Hendricksmeyer. Yep. I see him being a guy that would think just like that. You know, like, I know what I'm really good at, but you're kind of good at that too, but you're not as good at this as I am. So we're going to go do this instead. I mean, heck, he was the one in last year, and I never caught it, but lane 27 for our finals last year had a different type of pin in that rack. They were all the same type of pin, but it was a different type than the whole rest of the house. And he comes to me and says, "Why are we bowling on those pins?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "They're different. They're this, they're not this, they're that." And I'm like, "Trey, how did you know that?" He's like, "Well, you can just tell. Just look at them, listen to them." I'm like, "Okay, you're next level and I'm not. But everybody on your pair is bowling on those pins." so at least it's not just you. I mean, we're even. But yeah, just his analytical mind goes there, and, you know, just super smart, just crazy smart. Yeah, tomorrow I'll be curious. It'll be fun to see what that process goes, and it'll be something new for everybody.
I'm looking forward to it. Also looking forward to seeing Josh Weems still getting a little pitch black to shape over on 17 and 18. He will join us on 23 and 24 for the final game. Those of you curious, we showed the pattern earlier, of course, but you can take a look at it here in the chat. Again, 35 feet, 24.32 mils. You can see the conditioners used as well. Obviously different than this morning's long pattern at 50 feet, but as Andy and I were talking about, the buff distance, I think, helped create a little bit of additional area for players this morning.
Looking at 19 and 20, JT and Tatum are 1-3 in the U18 or U15 boys, separated by 70 pins, but it's kind of nice to have your competition bowling with you.
Yeah, that does help.
JT's plus 43 for 3 games on this, which that's pretty solid number on this so far.
We talked about earlier, Andy and I, with it might have been you as well, but just being quiet as far as like two-handed players go. And quiet meaning just not a lot of access, if you will.
Yep.
And sometimes it takes players, a little fine-tuning to kind of quiet the body in that sense. But, I'm just watching Tatum, and boy, he gets there very, very nice and easy, if you will, quite smooth. I've watched a lot of JT growth as his brother Zach was just destroying pins this morning, and just like that.
Yes, sir. Good shot.
The power, I guess I would give the power intangible to his brother at the moment. Zach seems to be a little bit taller. I think he's a touch stronger at the moment.
I mean, we keep talking about, like, across the house, like, kind of how difficult this is. And Devin Titus is at plus 117, and Joss is at plus 111. Rush is 100 over. I mean, you got to get to 13th before you find somebody that's under par in the U18 boys. So they must be getting them someplace in the house. And 17 and 18 is a good start. Lillian Smith has got a nice run going. Josh Weems.
Yeah, you are correct. That's funny. Well, as you said, Walter, right? What did he say?
Cream always rises to the top.
Yeah. You know who else said that? Macho Man Randy Savage. The cream rises to the top. Yeah. Much closer race in U18 girls. Ashlyn Tevis still leading the way, though, as we talked about the lack of 200 games, though, in that division. And there were 3 more in game 3. And we saw Macy Jones, 259. Gianna Brandolino shot 225. That's her high game so far.
But that's 50 pins between first and fifth, too. I mean, that's still
correct. Yes.
Still super tight.
Tomorrow it's the top 4, correct?
Yes. So U18 boys and girls and U15 boys will cut to the top 4, and we'll have traditional stepladder for those 4 players in each division. Our U15 girls, we only had seven entries, and that's another thing. We've worked really hard to honor that U15 girls division that's been traditionally very difficult, really in any event, to fill. So while we are going to decrease the prize fund a little bit for those ladies, we still wanted them to give them the opportunity to compete against each other and not lump them in with the older girls. So that's something that we've really been committed to all 3 years of running this event, even though we've never had more than 10 or 11 in that division. We really want to be true to that and continue to try to grow that and give those girls an opportunity to grow and have a place to go compete that isn't just against the older girls. You know, as a girl dad, that's something that we always struggled with. You know, that whenever you'd show up someplace, you were either going to bowl with the U15 boys or the older girls, and some places they give you the opportunity and others they wouldn't, you know, to choose. But at the same time, just being able to compete against your peers, I think, is something that's really important, and we've committed to that. So we'll continue to do that as long as it's feasible, even if the top number isn't quite as stellar. I mean, we're going to pay 2 spots. We're going to give $500 away for first place, and then, you know, you're bowling against 7 people for $500. That's pretty fair, along with a jersey and a belt, and, you know, the things that go with it. So
I talked about Abigail Starkey earlier, you know, maybe owning this short pattern. But at least for this game, where she's struggling down on 15 and 16, no strikes, a couple of splits. She just left an 8-10, unfortunately. On a shot that looked really good, might be time for a ball change, perhaps.
yeah, Brad and I talked a little bit between blocks before we started this afternoon, and I don't want to say he was questioning, but it definitely wasn't her favorite from practice yesterday. But there again, she's a super talented player. I mean, you know, she might have a little hiccup here, and it might just be a pair. It's hard to say, but she's a good player. She'll get it figured out.
I think the last 2 short patterns, I don't remember the first year, but definitely last year was my almost reintroduction, if you will, to, okay, there are some short patterns that are difficult. It's not just like, all right, I'm just going to go, you know, line up. I'm going to be right at 5 and create a little area, and I'm just going to have a field day. Nope, not here.
Not here. Well, and so like the surface here, this is the first generation of pro anvil.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's actually it's not even the first mass-produced one. It's like the experimental one. Like so I don't know all the ins and outs of this, but like the way the surface is put in, the way it's installed, that there's something that makes the gutter here just a little more difficult and just a little more inconsistent pair to pair. So take that with a 35-foot pattern at 1.9 to 1 and give it a little hang, and yeah, something with the installation, like, and you can roast me in the chat, I don't, whatever, but something with the installation where the ball actually goes uphill coming back into the lane, like where they install it. Maybe I'm way off, but I seem to remember somebody explaining it in that fashion to me, that, you know, like the screws are in like 3 or something, so like when the ball gets out, it has to come back uphill to come back into the lane bed. And that's too techie for me.
I appreciate that breakdown, but I'm going to tell you that you're not too far off at all, because I do recall hearing something similar the last time we were here.
Okay.
With the PWBA. That
all right, good deal.
Someone did mention, some similarities to what you just described. Again, just the complete overall knowledge base of bowling. It feels like, again, when you think you've got it figured out or understand a concept, there's like 10 different iterations of that very same concept. That could all come into play at some point. So, it's one of those things where you take it all in, and then sometimes you just got to remove what's not going to help you. Right? Cloud your brain. That's actually just a cool, to me, a cool surface or lane panel nugget of information, right? Just an understanding of, we can do something different with that. Well, the combination of the high temperature outside and, of course, our running fans and AC in the building have got me all sinused up. I apologize. Oh, good Lord. The blower 710.
The weather changes here locally it's been a real swing over the last 4 or 5 days.
We had one 710 made already. How about another?
Come on, Moo. Gave it a run.
Well, she shot 273 to open up the long pattern, game 1 on this very pair. And it seemed like she was able to really have a couple more boards to work with on lane 19. But a bit of a different vibe, of course. She went down and grabbed a ball, made a ball change. Got a good shot, frame 6, and then, of course, no breaks in frame number 7. Frame down on 23 to 24. Let's lay up a 7 before we make that move. All right, at least she gets the 10 out. Hello, Trey. We were just speaking of you. And your, speaking of knowledge, your astute ability to recognize sounds of pins that are not the same. And look, for that matter.
Acumen, is that what we're going to call that?
Yeah,
High bowling acumen?
Absolutely. Landon, though. I haven't seen Landon actually roll through here, which is kind of interesting. Where is Landon? I mean, I see him walking. He's on the high end currently. but he's walking toward us, but I don't think he's bowling in this area, which is rare.
He hasn't gone past us.
But it is the rare situation where, you know, there is a group that might miss a featured pair. It's possible. Young Josh Weems going to be in the 250s.
Emily Kringle, nice 235 down on the low end.
Landon 16 over through 3. Different pace, of course, than his long pattern effort. Well, this day might belong, or this pattern, I should say, might belong to Josh Weems. Between he, Devin Titus, and Rush Steen. Again, the 3 players in U18 boys who are 100 over or more. Josh just shot 255.
He's another one that's fun to watch when he gets it going. He's a lot of fun to watch. And again, I mean, I've said it about a dozen times about 20 kids, but just another really good kid, right? I mean, we've got so many just really just, they might be very, very talented, but their talent doesn't outshine their personalities and their gratitude is the word to use for Josh, right? I mean, in honor of Dr. J, I mean, just always is very gracious and just always very genuine, very polite, you know, just a very kind young man.
Phil shot left here for Peyton Geyer, who was bowling pretty well this morning on the long pattern also. Lillian Smith's going to be in the 2 teens, you know, 17 and 18, but she's about to move on over to 23 and 24. We'll see if Josh can take home the crown here on the short pattern. This event kind of formatted like a EYT Battle Royale or an SYC.
Yep.
3 lane conditions, 3 blocks. Top 3 receive medals or honored for their performances on each individual lane pattern.
Yeah, before the SYC went to bowling in only really big centers. You know, I mean, it was those events would sell out in 4, 5, 6 minutes. I mean, it was just crazy how fast those went, just because of the demand. And that's kind of where the idea for this came from. You know, was kind of modeled after that. Brandon and I got together. It was Brandon's idea, and you know, that's kind of the cool thing about Brandon and I is he's got a million ideas, and fortunately or unfortunately, I tend to be the brakes to some of that stuff. Like, no, we can't do that, but no, we really can. Let's figure out how to do it. You know, so we sat down and started carving it out, and he was very instrumental in that first year about, you know, helping to provide some funding and those types of things, and that's what kind of got us started. But yeah, it's definitely modeled after an SYC for certain.
They've done a great job, obviously. Storm, Leanne, Blair, everybody who has had a hand and making what the SYCs have become, as you just said. To me, it's like a sneaker release.
Yes, exactly.
You got to be ready.
Yeah,
be prepared. Have multiple tabs open.
I can say I've never been shut out trying to get into one. Knock on wood, but yeah, it's so much popularity in those, and like I say, absolutely this, and for not that we're a competing product necessarily, right, but you know, for them to come on board from the Rotogrip side and help us with getting ours going, it really truly is about growing the sport. It's not about creating competition. It's really about creating opportunities.
To the frame now. Come on, come on, come on.
Hey, speaking of Landon, he's on 17 and 18.
Yeah, there he is. He's 2 hours left.
Snuck up on us.
But you won't be able to see him, of course, for that divider. And he is just to the right of our camera over on 13 through 16. He was on this morning, though. Boy, as he often does.
Well, Landon doing Landon things.
248, the game that we saw him. And ended up, again, going and winning, essentially, the long pattern this morning. You know, this is reminds me of a situation where you just go out, as we hear, right? Maybe the look isn't the best, or you haven't quite figured out how to get it through the pins the right way, but you just keep the ball in play, make spares, you know, take the plus 50, something like that, right?
Yep.
Obviously, it's not going to hurt you. And then you move on to the next day, and you still got a chance, you know, to get to which is the ultimate goal, and obviously to come away with a win.
Right. And Landon kind of figured out quicker than everybody else this morning that, like, last night in practice, the gutter looked really, really good on the long. Like, it looked really, really good. And he was the first kid to kind of, at least that I saw. I don't want to take any credit away from anybody else. He's the first one I saw kind of make that big jump left.
Yep.
And kind of get into making the ball shape in the track. He was left of the track, but like that's where he could find the shape and the pattern to, you know, that 10, 11, 12 down lane to start with, and kind of start to use that hold a little bit as opposed to trying to use the friction. He was playing the hold as opposed to the friction. And that, I mean, then once he got comfortable in there, it was lights out. It was just a matter if he was going to carry or not. Because he was in a part of the lane where really nobody else in front of him had been early, because a lot of folks were trying to play out. King Kenny over here giving me the business. Kenny Shaughnessy, Spoon River College, right? Brand new program starting this season. He's looking for players, so out here watching his son and doing a little recruiting on the side.
That's right. We talked to Kenny last year about that. And, yeah, I was thinking.
Canton, Illinois, right? Am I close? Canton.
Somebody's looking forward to the social today.
Yeah, I think Carson's ready to go home.
It's like, let's get on over to Maple Lake.
Right, yeah. Go play some volleyball or something. He's going to be on 21 and 22. He's another kind of local kid, Carson Reed. He went out and bowled tour trials this year in Las Vegas back in January.
That's where I saw him.
Yep.
I knew I'd seen him before.
I think he's bowled a couple of PBA regionals too.
He's finished there for Moo. They say 169, and you know those kind of finishes mean a lot in the grand scheme.
Yeah, it's a battle in the war, right? You want to, you know, you gotta figure out how to get to Sunday afternoon. That's really the ultimate goal.
We've reached game 5. Just a quick reminder. A couple things. 1, subscribe to Bullstream TV if you don't mind. 2, tomorrow we'll begin at 8 a.m. Central Time. 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern, but 8 a.m. Central. And hopefully we'll have this little cable Twitch fixed. It's killing me. It truly is. to switch a cable around after the settees have cleared out. Holden, I like that name. Joss is shooting 250 plus. He's come over now to 23 and 24. One split. Open. Hopefully it wasn't a super washout, but so his work cut out for him here quickly. And some good pin carry there for Lillian Smith.
If you can get that shaker hit on the first time you're on a lane, that's gold.
Players with some jersey changes for the second block today. I like that a lot.
It's really. I remember the first time that we bowled a multi-shift event in the same day, and like for the life of me, I couldn't understand why kids changed. Like it was weird to me, and now like there's so many different jerseys out there. Well, yeah, I'd want to change too. I got 5 or 6 different jerseys I want to wear this weekend, and I only want to wear 3 or 4 of them, you know. But it's cool how much like the market has flooded with opportunities to get all these dye sub jerseys at an affordable cost. It's not some crazy ridiculous number. And then different tournaments like ours, like you know, we offered High Five puts together some stuff for us on their website that they could pre-order and I mean, there's a number of our round 3 jerseys in the building today, which is really cool. Really cool. But
there also could be every now and then, right? A little bit of some additional perspiration.
Oh, sure, yeah. Or I didn't bowl good this morning, and so I'm certainly not wearing that jersey again. I'm sure there's some superstition involved too.
All right.
As a baseball guy like I am, no, we're not wearing the same jersey for the doubleheader if we didn't win the first one. Nope.
We hadn't seen Gianna for a while today as well, so at least in front of us, you guys can't see Landon, but he's to our left. We'll get you the radio call. But G now bottom right of your screen. We'll go full screen in a little bit. Ashlyn Tevis has made her way back to 15 and 16, which means Abby should be somewhere nearby. She's on 21 and 22 as well.
Yep.
In fact, there she is, bottom right of your screen.
Well, that is a better start than game 4. 9 spare.
Well, Jim Brandolino checking in, chiming in about maybe the change of luck or change on luck. Hey, I hear you. I hear that, Jim.
I can get behind that.
Oh, Ashlyn Tevis. It's a 5-star recruit right there. But believe it or not, before you run into and do the scores, I saw Ashlyn at the I think it was the Rockford event. Did we go to Rockford this year? We did. PWBA, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And during one of my breaks, I went over to the mall. There was a mall next door, Cherryville Mall. And I saw Ashlyn and her mom. I think they had just wrapped up eating, or, you know, our paths crossed. Had a brief conversation. And somehow we got to talking about, I think I may have asked a college question or like just, you know, any schools, you know, contacted. At the time, they said no. I said, well, don't worry. That's going to change. Don't even worry about it because, and at the time she was still in the she was just entering U18 girls. And so, you know, junior gold in the division for the first time.
Yep.
And obviously that's where the majority of women's bowling coaches are obviously looking from a recruiting perspective. And, you know, as I mentioned earlier, she actually went on her second visit. They posted it on social media. Took a look at Mount Mercy. But, yeah, the visits for Ashlyn have taken off.
Well, and that's the other thing that from an NCAA perspective, like they can't speak to you until your rising junior year.
and there are some rules
You know,
involved.
that's a, you know, we've talked to a number of
rules.
NCAA coaches about that. And like, you know, the NAI and the USBCs, they have a little bit of an advantage because there's not as many rules around when they can speak to recruits. And then the manner in which they can. But you're right, not to get back to Ashlyn. Yes, I said it before, and she's going to get to write her ticket where she wants to go. And whomever is lucky enough to get her is going to get a tremendous young lady, a tremendous student, and a phenomenal bowler. The first time I met Ashlyn was a couple years ago at a Mount Mercy camp. And that is the first time that I was introduced to her. And like I say, just super genuine folks. I keep hanging my hat on that, but that tells us about the community that a lot of the bowling world is just good people, right? And yeah, she's a tremendous player and gonna get, whoever gets her is gonna get a good one, no doubt about it.
Well, we know that, of course, G already made her decision. Jacksonville State. The realm of women's collegiate bowling, especially at the NCAA level, really incredible. We've got Jacksonville State, Gianna, Nebraska, and Abigail Starkey. Speaking of, we were talking about Landon. He's going to SCAD, Savannah.
Yep.
Katie Thornton has done a great job. There's more years. I can still remember 2017. I don't remember if that was the first year, but it definitely was like the first year the women's team at least advanced to ITCs. So, you know, this is now going to at least be their 8th season as a program. And that's not a lot of time, obviously, right, when you're building a program.
Yep.
But what they've accomplished in a very short period, and now with continuing to enhance the program talent-wise. And it's also a very unique school in the sense of what they offer.
Yep.
Right. And so I always tell people, if that was me back then and SCAD existed, that would have been a very, very or a school that would have been high on my list.
Okay.
Just from what they offer from the arts perspective, someone who wants to be in, you know, especially in our day of content creation.
Sure.
It's a great place to go when you're looking at film, television, arts, design. Obviously, that's in the name, of course.
Yep.
Good spot to be if that's what you want to do professionally away from bowling. Always the one key to keep in mind too.
I'd always be curious to see, and I might actually try to talk to Landon about this at some point in time this weekend. What role did Katie being on the Team USA coaching staff, what kind of impact did that have on his decision? You know, was it a comfort level? Was there something unique to that relationship, or did it just allow him to get a relationship a little quicker and become comfortable a little sooner? I know he's buddies with Kai Evans too, who was up here at Mount Mercy and has recently transferred to I think this is his first year at SCAD, if I'm not mistaken. Second, okay. But you know, I kind of wonder how some of those relationships work to get to where you end up. You know,
Sure.
just from a curiosity standpoint.
Good shot there from Matt's. His dad is in attendance. Hello, Kelly. Appreciate you checking in, hanging out for a little bit. No, Bella is not here, but I
think she's in Wichita.
She might be in the invitation list. But yes, there is a PBA Junior event in Wichita that is happening this weekend as well. It's the Southwest PBA Junior Regional.
Yep. And believe me, we have tried to get Bella for the 3rd year in a row. So
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure they have you know, extended the branch, if you will. That's a good group of players, not even knowing who's actually at the PBA Junior Regional in Wichita, but just understanding that region
yes,
of player. That regional is pretty stacked.
Yes.
Just ooh. I tell you, the growth spurts for these young people.
it's crazy.
You know, Zane, I feel like, was still just like a young tyke, like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I mean, and like especially with this, like a lot of these kids I'll only see one time, and I won't see them again until next October. And the transformation usually with the girls isn't so much, but like you get those like 15, 16, 17-year-old boys. I mean, it's yeah. And Zane is one I haven't seen in a while, and I was telling Kenny, I'm like, man, it's good to see you, but who's that tall kid you brought with you? Like, I don't know who he is, and you know, but yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Dawson Cole's another one. Like, I haven't seen Dawson in a while. I haven't seen Dawson since junior gold, and he's another one that, you know, just got tall, like really tall, in just a couple of months. I mean, that was July.
See Carson down there with the front four on 25 and 26. We do have some groups approaching the 10th frame here in game number 5. It's like down on 11 and 12. Coming up or just past the 5 o'clock hour. Emil Williams Jr. with Matthew McConaughey, president of the Youth Bowling Scholarship Foundation. Wow. And Tevis, just a stone cold 9-pin. Appreciate Matthew for hanging out this block. Tomorrow we might, we talked about college bowling. Save a few college bowling coaches for tomorrow. Try to get a chance to chat with Andy Shutt as well, here on behalf of Storm and Roto Grip.
Yeah, I tell you what, like their support for us, you know, Schlem was here with us last year. Andy's here with us this year. I mean, just their level of support to making sure that we can produce a really high-quality event, just it's invaluable. I mean, just absolutely, I can't say enough good things about what they do for us to help us out and provide us not only people. Our local Storm, one of our local Storm staffers, Jacob Bedard, he was in the building for a while today, too. He wanted to make sure that he got out and you know, was present and visible and help out with some stuff too. So just like I say, tons of support from them that just can't go unnoticed.
Very interesting, folks. If you've watched, you know, you watched G's last 2 shots. You know, she's gone Brooklyn and left a couple of 5-pins, so she's had to make some moves. She's trying to finish this game strong. What are you seeing on that on bowl metrics there?
Ashland is currently leading the girls by 27 or so. Ahead of Emily Kringle. Ashland's plus 41. Emily is plus 13. Macy Jones plus 4. G is minus 27. So big game here. I can't see Macy from here. She's a little too far away to see what's cooking over there. U18 boys through 4. Joss Weems continues to lead at plus 166. Ahead of Griffin Jordan at plus 105. Mats Thunberg at 104. Rushstein plus 97. Devin Titus plus 96. So that's a fairly tight match for 2 through 5 for sure. If Joss takes care of business, he should be able to get home, I would think. He's not bowling a bad game. He's 77 through 5 with a strike up in the 6th.
Well, Griffin's got spare 5 back. Just FYI.
See, this is why you're the best in the business. Because I hadn't even looked to my left yet. U15 girls. Leah Blasevic continues to lead. She's ahead by 44 over Emily Schmidt. Addison Johnson just a couple behind her at -169. Katie Kirchner, she's a local kid from Vinton, just down the street. She's within shouting distance of a medal. She's at -174. So that puts her 8 pins out of second place potentially. So that's somebody's gonna have to bowl a good last game there. That's definitely in contention. And then the U15 boys, JT Grothus continues to lead at +76 ahead of Ridgely Potters +64. Third place is Tatum Lee at -40. And then Sebi Vetter, and Dawson Cole all within 20 of third place. So definitely plenty to be bowled for here these last few frames going into the end of game 5.
Griff did spare in the 7th, but his brother Landon made a big split in the 8th frame. That was huge, actually, because Landon now can save 190. He's got 2 frames to go, speaking of Landon.
And even not necessarily placing here in this round, making sure that, you kind of mitigate the damage as much as you can and continue to keep your eye on the prize. I probably should jump out here. Oh, there's I don't know who that is on 10, but that's a front 6.
Front 6 for Micah Jensen.
Micah Jensen.
And then a front 6 for Karsten Guess, I believe.
Yep, Karsten Guess. He's at Iowa City. I probably should jump out here. I got to make a couple announcements and get some things kind of wrapped up for the end of the block. But my last comments for you, always appreciate you putting a professional spin on our event. Always love having you here in town, and even if you don't like the Oktoberfest pizza, we'll keep having you back. You know what I mean? So appreciate you, buddy. Thank you very much.
I'm glad that that's become our thing. Me in this tournament. That's fantastic. Thank you,
so
sir.
Good. All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
As Matthew McConaughey, as we get set to wrap up this block and the day. First day of competition here at the Midwest Youth Main Event. Zane Shockensee. All right, putting together a nice little 4-bagger. He's trying to finish the day strong. We'll keep you updated on Micah. In fact, Micah's got the front 7, it looks like. Karsten Guess with still the front 6. Actually, take a look at Karsten here in a moment. Abby Starkey looking for her first strike here. She left an 8-pin, I think, a couple of frames ago on this right lane. The Thunberg family having a little fun here. And on cue, Abby with her first strike. Michael Solberg with a little bit of razzle-dazzle on the carry of the 7. Karsten Guess did miss in the 7th frame. Looks like a single pin. All right, so it's going to be up to Micah Jensen perhaps to get our first 300, not only of the day, of the weekend, but of the tournament series and the history of the event. This is year 3, of course. Landon looked like he's struggling with maybe something physical here at the end of this block. He's got a 310. If he makes that, he can get to 187. We did have a 299 today. Front 8 now for Micah Jensen. Devin Titus shot 299 in game 2. We'll catch up with Mr. Weems here in a moment also. He can finish with 207. Meanwhile, Griffin has doubled in the 8th and 9th, so Griff can shoot 269. And that would certainly move him in front of Joss. Griff tied for third on the long pattern this morning. And then he could lead the short. We'll find out here in just a little bit if that's going to take place. Meanwhile, Starkey on that Optima Model Pearl. There's a good one. And now 2 consecutive, good double. Take a quick look at U18 girls on the short. Hasn't been what I anticipated from Abby. She has struggled here, but she owned the long pattern this morning. It's been a little bit of that for Abby the last couple times out. We've talked where she has just absolutely owned, you know, the first part of the day and then struggled the latter part, or vice versa. But I think it's because the long pattern did give us that opportunity to watch these players play closer to the gutter. And that always is in the wheelhouse of Abby. Looks like we're waiting on something over on 19 and 20. So while we wait, take a quick look at 23 through 26. And you see the Joss double. Moo Cole. One thing, Matthew McConaughey, and then Andy Belo for joining us, or joining me, I should say. Andy this morning, Matthew this afternoon. Tomorrow we'll have another Andy. We'll get Andy Shutt in the building, representing Storm again and Roto Grip. Talk about his knowledge base, the state of Iowa, what he loves about youth bowling, and maybe what's in the bag segment, if you will, regards to the brands underneath the Storm umbrella. Meanwhile, Griffin left 9-pin. Looks like a 9-pin for Griff in the 10th. First shot in the 10th frame. Micah Jensen did leave a single pin, I believe, in frame 9. But he can still get into the 270s, of course. Right, 19 and 20 being 10 to 2. We'll look at Griff's final shot. Oof, aced. Griffin Jordan, 248. This game from Griff. And Josh Weems on cue. Big shot, first one in the 10th. We'll do the quick math. Griff in the books at plus 153. And so with that, wait, 40. Yeah, that was a hit right there for Joss, because Griff did not strike on his first shot in the 10th. Josh Weems. As Mats Thunberg. Mats can get to. He's still got 240 out there. But that will not be enough. They actually could tie. He could tie Griff actually at the end of it. Young Josh Weems. Looks like he's going to take it on short. Nice block. 233, 251, 227, 255, 204. So he gets to plus 170. And the 5-game block on short does Joss Weems. Again, meanwhile, 19 and 20 being worked on. I'll update you when that is all ready to go. Meanwhile, Dawson Cole with a nice finish. He'll be in the 220s. It's a big finish there for Dawson, too. He was minus 60. This is his first 200 of the block. JT Grothus and Ridgely Potter Jr. have kind of had their way, and U15 boys. 19 and 20 is back up and running. Savannah Portillo shot 232. Nice game for Savannah. We look at Karsten Gassy. You see, we mentioned the front six. All right, that spare puts him in the 250s. Some good bowling on this group here on these, on this cross, I should say. Tatum Lee, we've said his name multiple times today. And for good reason. And a nice day on the short, or I'm sorry, the long pattern this morning. Abby shoots 190. Gianna cannot get the 7-pin to fall. On the bottom of your screen. We'll go back to 19 and 20, of course, in a moment. And after that delay, it looks like they're going to close us out, at least on the high end of the building. Oh my gosh. Ooh, I'm going to have to go back to the PWBA archives and maybe talk to some players. I don't remember this many 8-pins. But now it's starting to come back to me a little bit because I feel like I was going to say, hey, I need to talk to Mick, our guy Mick, about all these 8-pins that I'm seeing. Zane, by the way, with 5 in a row. JT, spare puts him in the 2-0s, 204 specifically. Tatum makes that spare strike to get him to 228. Again, folks, 8 a.m. Central time, so a little bit of an earlier start. Our finals will begin at around noonish Central time, right around football time. And to give an opportunity, of course, for players and parents to get a good start on their travels back home. Well, I know Moo just looked like she just couldn't find anything consistent here this afternoon. Austin Olderog, 10-pin, spare strike to get him to 225. Randolino. LBC Clash winner on national TV. Jim, by the way, if you're still watching, I talked to Julie earlier about the video that, first of all, great job. I don't know if it was Nolan who captured that, but whoever did PBA was great. Kind of that behind the scenes video, if you will, of you two watching G, and then of course the excitement that took place after that. But really for me, when I saw the video, and I talked to Julie about this morning, the pacing that she was doing, I'm like, that, of course. If you know Julie, you know she's going to pace. She's not watching that. She's pacing. But it was fantastic. Love the celebration. A true family victory in that sense. Couldn't be happier. It was fun to watch it actually unfold too on TV. I said this earlier, you know, sometimes tape shows should sometimes you don't know what you get from a tape show, but that one was perfect. Big opportunity here for Zane. That's got to push. Oh, what a break. Well, his ball hit that zone where G kind of went back-to-back Brooklyn 5 pins. That's Thunberg. That man's got a bright future. I mentioned his hobbies earlier, folks, for Matt's. Golf, downhill skiing, mountain biking, and waterboarding. That's what Matt enjoys. Nicely done there. Matthew with some love on the 10. Can shock and see. A little better shot. Still hooking. This pair looks like a 3-2, maybe 5-3 type move. If this was a 6-game block, that's what they'd be looking at. Yep, just get it on up the hill. Good spare. Fair bowlers for G, by the way. Andrew Anderson, A.J. Johnson, Deandra Asbeatty, Leanne Holstenberg, and Norm Duke. Fitting she won the Norm Duke trophy, of course. Best part about some of these profiles, and it's because I certainly have covered the PWBA for so long at this point, but when I see a young woman fill out a player profile and it says what they want to do in the future is be a PWBA bowler or X, in Gianna's case, PWBA bowler or sports psychologist, I mean, it's fantastic to hear someone who covers that tour. And the understanding, obviously, that there was no tour for 12 years, and now it's been back for 9. Next year's the 10th season, going to be the 10th season since the relaunch. And so giving, again, the future and the players like a Gianna Brandolino something to look forward to. Matt Dietrich finishing things out. Zane Shawkins, 233. It's funny how, again, a pattern can make so much difference, and then, of course, how the players elected to play the lanes on the two respective patterns, because 19 and 20 was so favorable this morning on the long pattern. And now if you were to come to this pattern and we had 6 games, this would not be a pair you'd want to see. Zach shoots 182, Matthew 160. And now Mats and Gianna will take us home. Some activities planned for the athletes at Maple Lanes from 6 to 9. Social gathering. Players had a ton of fun, volleyball, other games and such. Of course, food. Wow. You can see how much this pair is hooking. See if G can finish strong here. That's a good shot. Goal metrics. Let's see, U18 girls. Quick look at where she was at minus 27. Strike there would have gotten at a plus. Even 9 spare strike. 9 spare would have gotten a chance at even. But every score is not in, certainly. But Ashlyn Tevis was leading with 1 game to go on this pattern, followed by Emily Kringle at 13 over and Macy Jones at 4 over. The rare miscues from both players at the end of the 10th frame. I had to actually go check out the YouTube stream itself. I'm like, wait, did they just both miss spares as I was looking at bowl metrics? And unfortunately, that is indeed what took place. All right, so G at 214. And that is going to do it for us here today, folks. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Do me a favor again. Please subscribe to Bullstream TV. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on this particular event. There is a playlist dedicated to the 2024 Midwest Youth Main Event. So if you missed anything from this morning, you can rewatch the long pattern. Watch that event. Of course, share this out and let everyone know what you had a chance to watch. We'll be back at it here for the medium pattern at 8 a.m. Central Time Sunday morning. 8 a.m. Central Time Sunday morning. 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And then 5 more games will determine our 4 finalists across each division, except for our U15 girls. And then we'll have some finals for you tomorrow, but we've got a lot more bowling to go, so we appreciate you tuning in. I want to thank all of our sponsors, H5G, the Greater Cedar Valley USBC, Roto Grip, Experience Waterloo, and ADS Recycling, the title sponsor. Shout out to Cadillac XBC, the Storm Evolution program, Ben, along with the Hampton Inn, Cedar Falls downtown location, the other place just around the corner. Thank you to Andy Belo and PBA Junior. What a great program that has become and continue to grow. Thanks to all of you for hanging out. Thank you to Matthew McConaughey, our guest this afternoon. Thank you to Andy Belo this morning. We will see you tomorrow morning. Again, 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Central. 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, I beg your pardon. My name is Emil Williams Jr. Thanks to the entire Youth Bowling Scholarship Foundation here in Waterloo, Iowa. Brandon, Matthew, Angie, Kelly, Leslie, and everybody in between. Thank you to Mick here, our GM at Cadillac XBC, and his entire staff. We'll see you tomorrow. This has been a presentation of the Midwest Youth Main Event. This was the short lane pattern. Tomorrow, medium. You watched it live and only on Bullstream TV. Have a good night, folks.